Welcome back to the Culture Crusade. It is good to be here. Good to see everyone. We have many things to talk about because, as the title might have implied, the cancel pigs, they're still here. I haven't gone anywhere. And there's a recent bit of controversy around that not only are we going to discuss, we also have a special guest who's going to join us as we talk about this. He is an author himself. He is wired in on all the things that we're talking about. He is also the mayor of Orc City, Sir John A. Douglas. How are you, mate?
Greetings from Orc City. The coffee here is great.
The Orc City.
How viral did that go, by the way?
Oh, wow.
It was huge. It was like tens of thousands.
It was everywhere. I'm on Know Your Meme. Orc City is officially a meme. And when I realized that it had made meme status, I was through the roof. Because where you see other people like Jack Murphy, he crashed out when, he went viral. Instead of rolling with it, he fought it. But I understand one thing and one thing very clear. You cannot fight the internet. The internet will always win. So I became the mayor of Orc City. I rolled with the memes, and it defanged the whole thing.
Oh, like in terms of, types of memes and everything, that's not one to be embarrassed on at all. I think that's one to wear as a badge of pride.
Yeah, I made one. See, we built Orc City. Built Orc City on rock and roll.
Oh, gorgeous. What AI did you make that one with?
I made the picture with ChatGPT and then or whatever they use and Imagine or something. And then I used whatever they had, whatever ChatGPT uses to make videos like Sora or something like that. That's what I used.
Mm-hmm.
And so a little simple.
Yeah, gorgeous. AI, mate. Pay attention to that space. I've been saying that for ages. But what I found interesting with that kind of thing that kicked it off, that was, you can fill this in a bit more detail because I certainly saw it. It was someone trying to dunk on the opening of your book, wasn't it?
Yeah, what happened was I was just poking fun around on the internet like I usually do, which, all I ended up doing was, sorry, something popped up on my screen.
It was me.
Yay, Mike! Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All I was doing was poking fun at Hideo Kojima and his naming conventions in his just how much silly stuff goes into his games. That wasn't even the silliest one I used. I just thought Fat Man was kind of funny.
Do you still have that tweet? Because we can bring it up and show, because that I bookmarked it, but it's buried way deep.
Oh, it's probably buried for me too. That was that was the 4th of July weekend that happened. And I knew some people were dogging on me a little bit, but I did not know that it had gone so wide until I got to work the next day. And I was seeing Orc City memes all over the place. I'm like, what is going on here? And that's when it kind of dawned on me where it was at. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. I found it.
Gorgeous.
I'll put it private chat.
Yeah. If you could share a private chat, then I can.
And so all I did was roll with it, laugh with it. A lot of people try to say, you can't laugh with us. We're laughing at you. Like, buddy, you just gave me more notoriety than any indie author on Twitter.
Yeah.
Thousands of people know the opening intro to my book. How many other indie authors can say that? Yeah, exactly. People are laughing, but they'll leave in about 3 days. They'll forget you exist. And, the people who are like, this isn't that bad, end up staying. That was the best sales week I ever had for my book, by the way.
Oh, I could imagine. And by the way, like what you say here, okay, are you wrong? I mean, his name, Fat Man. I mean, and people
there is
so triggered when you just point out like opinions on their sacred cows. They go nuts. Sorry, were you about to say something, John?
I was just saying, I know there's a thematic reason he's called Fat Man. It was just, I remember playing this game and I was not impressed. I was very disappointed with this game, like a lot of people were, for many reasons. And then this fat guy in a bomb suit riding rollerblades, sipping wine out of a champagne glass, starts rolling up, and I'm like, this is such an unserious game. What happened? I know there were some kind of crazy parts in the first game, but like it's like, you know, he ended up going even worse. Like in Metal Gear Solid 3, you've got a boss that shoots bees at you, and an astronaut that's on fire.
I'm familiar. I haven't played this game that I can recall. Did he have a sidekick named Little Boy?
He did not, and he missed a chance there.
Yeah, there was an opportunity, but he is Japanese, so maybe they thought that would have been
like only being half on the nose wasn't on the nose enough.
Right.
Well, I mean, Kojima doesn't really like a subtlety. You know, subtlety's for cowards.
You're right.
That's true.
And according to the go ahead.
Oh no, go you go, John.
I mean, according to the fanboys of Kojima, which, you know, I'm not a fan of his writing, mainly because it boils down to he writes really overly complicated plots to games that really shouldn't have as much complexity as he puts in there. But at the same time, he also slapdashes it with so much silly shit. Excuse me, I didn't mean to curse. I've been trying to stop.
I get you.
I mean,
it doesn't stop Lip Dev.
I forgot where I was going with that, but he's kind of like George Lucas in the way that when there's nobody to kind of filter out his nonsense, he ends up going way overboard. Very pretentious with a lot of his stuff that it should mean so much, but at the same time, there's so much silly stuff in it that it's a bunch of tonal whiplash that really just doesn't do it for me. By the time the fourth game showed up, man, I was kind of out of the series completely.
Now, do you have that? Because someone retweeted your tweet, and again, like people get so triggered when you just point out little things about the sacred cows. In my opinion, I think the actual base art style of Ghibli is plain, but I praise the animation. But holy crap!
Here we go again.
When I point that out, that just that set people off. And so I can understand why your one went viral. Now, is it this one here? Because what I want to point out is like it's a classic attempt at failed cancellation when someone who doesn't know how to write tries to mock someone's writing when there's actually nothing flawed in it. It's perfectly fine. Because they tried to, is this the one here? Or is it someone else?
Yeah. No, that's not it. That was one specific one, but man, it's buried down. I'm talking in the thousands of QRTs.
Mike is, however, an idiot.
It's really, wait, who is that?
Mike and Curtis.
I don't know who this is.
Oh God, no, yeah, I don't pay no attention to him.
Listen, thumbs guy.
And this guy, right? Like, I get so annoyed when these so-called, you know, like, I don't know if this guy's a writer or he claims any, research or anything like that, but it's now trying to attack the opening of your book when I'm looking at this, right? And it's fine. It's perfectly adequate for an opening. And, you know, the Orc City smoldered, burned down in the wake of battle. The ground soaked in a knuckle's depth of blood and ash. There is nothing wrong with that, okay? The savage cries of its defenders now silent and still as its ruins was overseen by the architect of its very destruction.
I found it.
Orc Wars were finally... Oh, you found it?
Yeah. And now, like, I can't ever change that opening now, right? Like, you can't change a meme.
Well, it's iconic now, isn't it? It's...
It
was this.
I got to thank him. He got 15 million views on that. 15 million people saw the opening of my book, buddy.
We got monetized. I mean, he actually got monetized,
right?
You're welcome.
This is how this guy's book starts, and it's like, okay, so you don't know how to write then, because that's perfectly fine, right? And in actual fact, for a hook, it portrays a very evocative scene that is going to draw people in. And we're like, all right, what's going on? Especially the line here, the winning kind of line that is the hook here, is the savage cries of defenders now silent as and still as its ruins were overseen by the architect of its very destruction. All right, that proposes something that's going to draw the reader in as like, all right, the guy who's responsible for all this death and destruction, right there, watching the results of his work. And I'm trying to find what do they think is cringe or bad about this. And it's like, that there's a city with orcs? Oh, John, you hack you. How could you write about an orc city?
It got flanderized.
It's
and see, the thing is, you have to remember the people that were going the hardest against this. I always understood these are not book readers, because a lot of the big accounts that shared this in the as it started up were the shit posting accounts that just looking for stuff to try and for content to repost and things like that. So I understand book readers were not the ones that were looking, because this is pretty boilerplate as far as fantasy goes and fantasy readers. We understand that. And as an author myself, one of the things I don't care to do is throw a bunch of fantasy made up words right off the bat. Because if you don't have the context for where these places are, you're not going to really care about them. So giving a name to like the Orc City wouldn't really, to me, make any sense, considering 100%. It's gone now.
Yeah, like if you called, the city of Gorgash was burning,
right?
Like, that doesn't
What's
give
Gorgash?
any context.
Who cares? It's been burned down now.
But just giving it the description of what it is, it's a city of orcs, gives the reader what they need to know and the context to lead them in. Absolutely, 100%. And this is like a basic literary thing that I see a lot in amateur writing, where they write stuff that the reader at this point is not going to give a crap about and way too early on. And it's like, no, cut that. Doesn't need it. It's irrelevant information at this point in time. But of course, newer writers who they love their world building, they want to share all that stuff. And the only exception I'll give where you can kind of add what might be irrelevant, if it's actually interesting. It's actually interesting information that might help flesh out the world a bit, and that can actually serve to draw you in. And the master of this, even though people try and slag on him, but his book is a timeless classic for a reason, is Tolkien. Tolkien would go into details about his world, sometimes completely separate to what's going on, but they're so interesting. His world building is friggin' phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. Why are you giving those looks there, Mike?
Look, listening to Tolkien is a totally different experience. You were right. I listened through all the books just the last couple of months. But trying to read like The Hobbit, the first time I tried to read The Hobbit, I was like, I don't need to know what color every blade of grass is. I really...
Hobbit was easy. I
can
tried
we get
reading
to
Lord of the Rings.
something happening, please? It was like killing me.
That's kind of the criticism that floats around with Tolkien. And look, I won't try and excuse the over explanations of the kind of scenes, but what I think he does really good is history and background and world building lore that he kind of injects at different parts in his writing. And I love it. I think it's great. I mean, it makes the world feel so rich and deep. And obviously, it hasn't been that much of a barrier because it's a friggin' timeless classic. People love it. And so, sorry, that's kind of my
also, people probably had a lot more patience when he wrote it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Longer attention spans. Yeah.
Not to mention, there was nothing else like it. At the time that it came out, and even today,
I came into Tolkien after just having read the available Game of Thrones books, so I was like, George, love him or hate him, he knows how to tell a story and keep it moving.
He's a little more. George R. R. Martin is way more contemporary. Like it's a little easier for a modern person to read Game of Thrones than maybe Lord of the Rings, but it's still pretty interesting when you look at Lord of the Rings. Now it was a. The Hobbit I liked. The Hobbit I could read. I couldn't really get into Lord of the Rings, really. The Hobbit, though, was a lot easier.
Listen to it. It's so good. Dude, they did such a good job on those
audiobook in particular. Because
holy cow,
Tolkien's writing style is very narrative, like from a narrator, where Tolkien is kind of telling you a story.
Yeah.
And so listening on audio,
like you want to sit in an armchair and listen to him. Tell you
and it's
story
like your granddad. It's like your granddad telling a story, because he even has because he has these moments in his writing where it's like, so you might think hobbits are a bit like this, but the thing is about hobbits is this and this. And
these little trails, right? Rabbit trails.
Yeah, and he's actually speaking to you like you're there because he is the narrator, and it's charming and enjoyable, and it's still a classic. It's great. All right, so John has his experience here is I kind of fires on the social medias and the Twitters. And what I like about you, John, is you understand very clearly how to handle the cancel bullcrap. In actual fact, you have recently commented on it because there's been a recent cancellation attempt is not what I would necessarily call it. It's a dogpiling, which has caused someone considerable distress. But though they did concern troll the literary agent, didn't they, John? And so I guess that could be qualified as a type of cancellation then. So, well, I'll bring up some of the tweets, and I got your tweet here, John. What
would be the cause of like the agent dumping you? It's like he criticized Kojima. It's like, okay.
Well, this is something recent. This is something recent that's happened with an author named Jordan Lee.
Okay.
And so John's comment on it here is to the cry bullies and mean girls, to the cancel pigs and woke scolds, to fart sniffing political brain rotted midwits thinking it's still 2018 in Jordan's QRTs. You don't have power here. Take your buzzword bullcrap back to blue sky and F off forever. But there was a reason why I liked you, John. I'm sure.
You have no power here, Gandalf Stormcrow. But
I mean, for years watching it happen to other authors, other YouTubers and creators, you know, I was pretty well inoculated against being canceled myself, but just the tactics of cancel crab bellies. My God, Orc City wasn't even the first time I was canceled. If you go back into March, the Target book aisle tweet was way bigger than Orc City. It didn't turn me into a meme, but that tweet alone got 30 million views on it.
Yep.
And even before that, I had tweets that popped off every now and then. I've had tweets that have popped up in Gary Neurotics stream. I've been on. I've had tweets that appeared on Crowder. Oh, good! I love hitting the camera like that. And so, you know, and just watching other authors like John De La Rose kind of go through these things, and you know, he's been canceled a million times, and I've seen how he handles it, and how other YouTubers have been have handled it in the past. And like Razor Fist always says, cancel culture is a participation sport. You're only canceled if you allow yourselves to be. And so when I see them just the same old political brain rot, that, you know, the kind of dogpile that happened in everywhere between 2015 to about 2020 or so, before people really started to kind of get a spine, I jumped in there. Because I can't stand seeing this kind of thing. There is a really rotten side of the book community on Twitter that is still towing that political line.
Mm-hmm. We're going to show some of their tweets. Holy crap! They're insane.
Yeah, I just wasn't having it today.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%, and that is the way that you need to respond these days. The unfortunate thing, right, is when the I guess organizations, institutions that have certain, broader relevance for the culture. And this is like, companies that have pop culture properties. They work with mainstream industries and stuff like that. It's when those idiots start to participate with the cry bullies and the vocal minorities. That's when they can actually, cause damage in people's real life and get them cancelled in that sense. But it's only when they listen to these idiots that it happens. And I can't stand the cowardice of these companies when they bow to this bullcrap, because all they needed to say was get stuffed. And they honestly are afraid that this vocal minority could damage their, reputation being in a large business. But now what's really refreshing is when these companies bow to the cancellation, that seems to be the thing that really screws them over, that they get so much negative press in response to them trying to do this. And there's a small example. This is kind of related, but not. It's a bit more political, but it goes to show the same type of thing where culture is shifting a bit. And so what happened in England recently, there was...
I thought you were going to go show Sydney Sweeney.
See, well,
the Cracker Barrel.
We could go to that. But no, this pub tried to refuse people entry who were having English flags on them. The video went viral, and the pub has been now review bombed and boycotted, and they are losing heaps of business. People are not. They're not having any of this crap, right?
You started with evil. Why would we go to your place?
Right. right? And so whether it's cancellation for political reasons or being denied entry for political reasons, or and oftentimes it's not even political. It's like the most innocuous normie takes, like men are men and women are women, and people lose their freaking minds and they get denied entry and stuff like that. And now what we're seeing is proper backlash to the people trying to cancel. Now, my stance, I feel, is you kind of get you kind of deserve the treatment that you're willing to throw out to others. And so the people that actually deserve to be cancelled are those that were trying to cancel other people.
As I used to say, cancel the cancelers. Cancel the cancelers.
Exactly. They get to be treated by their own standards. Hold them to their own standards. And that's
do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah. That's kind of what we're seeing these days. But it doesn't mean that the insanely loud, unhinged cry bullies, right, haven't gone anywhere. There's actually, like, the amount of voices that have existed 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that caused the entire shift in the, ideological lens of the mainstream is not only just as present, there's probably more voices on their side than before. I think they've grown a bit, but the counter people pushing back have grown vastly more. But I do think that side, that group, they're still here. These cancel pigs are here and as vocal as ever. And in one of the examples that we saw recently was what has happened with Jordan. And that was the tweet that John had actually responded to. And so let's actually go to the article.
So what is the tweet? Because I don't know about this.
Well, I've got it here because she ended up deleting the tweet because it was getting dogpiled so much, and she couldn't.
Oh, that's a mistake.
Who's Jordan?
Abuse. So her name is Jordan Lee, and she's an author. And so this is the article here. And so this is the article done by Kristen. How do you say her last name?
McTiernan.
McTiernan.
And she is the no nonsense free editor on YouTube. Got some great videos. Big recommendation for her. I think she's awesome. And so she has covered what's going on, what has happened. And this is recent, right? But it goes to emphasize that the cancel mob is just as vocal, right? And there's probably even more of them. But all you need to do is just ignore them, and they have no power. But they're there. They're and they'll keep trying.
It was great because that's something similar happened to me with the Rorschach thing, and that's why I got monetized. I just not only did I roll with it, I kept putting more fuel on the fire because it just kept getting me more views and more money. That was a pretty fun time. Even Sargon covered it for some reason, but it was pretty fun.
Based. That's awesome. I love Carl. Good mate.
Like, all right, I guess, all right, fantastic.
So this is what Kristen says. She says, it's not happening. Okay, it is happening, and it's a good thing. And if you disagree that it's a good thing, that's violence. And the thing is, what's
the narcissist prayer? Like, it's not happening. Okay, it is happening, but it's good. Or like, okay, it's not good, but it's you deserve it, or something like that.
The funny thing, like, this reads as parody, as an over-exaggeration, but it's not. This is actually not an exaggeration of what they're like. This is like
they're all narcissists. They have no principles. They just want to make changes on their terms. They want to destroy everything that they don't like. They want to hurt you. Which is not really good because if Disney's like, come back, man, please come back. They were happily sowing, but they're not happily reaping.
Now, I've seen the people say it's like cancellation isn't happening. There's no cancel culture. And when you point out all the examples, and there's countless examples, they literally like, okay, fine, but it's a good thing and they deserve it.
Yeah,
like,
they deserved it. Exactly.
And by the way, calling it violence, like this is one of the things that pisses me off so much, but it's they try and push it. Words of violence. You've all heard that, haven't you, before? Where they try and exaggerate the offense so much that they want to qualify it as violence. And the reason why they want to falsely frame people saying offensive things to them as violence, because that then justifies them to be violent in response.
Punch a Nazi, or something like that.
Exactly.
They've also said silence is violence, which is a very good news, I guess, for Bill Cosby. So, or bad news for Bill Cosby. But they also the other one was, what's it? Silence is compliance, or silence is consent, or something. That one was good news for Bill Cosby.
So this next line is so key to what Kristen says here. That means anything I do to you is self-defense.
Yeah, it's self-defense.
Right? They honestly believe that. They like the level of what I feel is actually evil that they go to try and destroy people's lives. And when I say evil, no joke, there are people online trying to encourage people to kill me. And that's not an exaggeration. There is people online trying to, actively calling for my death. And I'm not exaggerating. And they feel it's justified because they are so unhinged and offended by what is honestly bland conservative viewpoints. That was just normal conservatism 15 years ago, right? You go back 20 years ago, most people
they want to kill you because of your take on AI.
No, I was about to say they want to kill you because of their takes on Ghibli. I thought that was the Ghibli.
I would also say those takes are bland as well, right?
They're nunchucks owners.
Yeah, exactly.
You just made me realize I'm gonna create a new villainous duo that the left is just gonna hate, and they're gonna be called Stick and Stone.
The Breaker Bones. By the way, Shad, I also pay for an assassin to go after you because of the Ghibli stuff. Just heads up.
Okay. Well.
You're not supposed to give him the heads up, dude.
Well, I had a lot of extra Doge laying around, Doge coins, but, you know.
Nice.
I'm well armed, and I have a feeling that those are the type of assassins that will try and use nunchucks in killing me, and they'll most likely just hurt themselves in the process. I don't even need to raise a finger.
Yeah, well, yeah, I couldn't afford I couldn't afford above nunchucks. Like it's like a discount if they don't use firearms. So.
Hey, Lit Dead, I want to just throw in a little aside here because I did watch your review last night, and you had the quote of the night. Did you recognize when you said it?
Which one?
You said this book is objectively not good. And I'm like,
well, you know,
well, put that on the cover. All right.
Right. So, yeah, like the key line here. Oh, but
calls it like I see it, I guess.
Just on the nunchucks thing, this weekend I've got a video coming out: nunchucks versus flail tested.
Oh Lord,
versus flail. I also heard the flail was pretty bad.
Yeah, it is bad. It's the Battle of the Retards, the video, and I'm tempted to name it that, but I might get heat. Like the video, the Battle of the Retards.
I watched that video over the weekend, and I'm like, man, the flails look really cool. But there's some weapons that look really good cinematically and in practice.
Yeah,
just don't work.
Who was there was a character in fantasy who had like a ridiculous flail. Was that the Witch King or something?
Yeah, the Witch King. Yeah, he had it. Of course, he had Hulk strength, so you know he could get away with it.
Mace would have been better. Anyway, so exactly, like she hits the nail on the head. That these people feel like, you know, anyone speaking out against their sacred cows, whether it's honestly AI, Ghibli, Kojima, or the larger, you know, ideological anything, diversity, equity, inclusion, or you know, any of the woke stuff, right, is so evil. It's violence to them that justifies them in doing anything, and that includes trying to ruin people's lives actively. And I like the amount of vitriol and hatred that they show in and the extremity that they go to try and ruin people's lives is actually, that's the evil right there. And it's like unbelievable. And they think not only are they justified in doing it, they think they are virtuous in doing it. That's the why the old term social justice warrior was so apt for them, because they think that that's what they are. They are warriors for this virtuous, just cause, when they are some of the most vile people in the world.
Well, usually we have to put something in front of the word justice. It's no longer justice.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget, a big reason why they ended up feeling like that is because they felt they had numbers behind them. And about, 8 to 10 years ago, culturally speaking, they kind of did. And that's where, when they realized they could cancel people the way they did, that's when it became much more of an effective tactic.
I would disagree with that. I don't think they ever had the numbers behind them. I just think that the majority,
well, they had
the silent majority,
they had the money behind
the
them.
perception. They were able to project the perception that there was more of them than there was. And that was an overconfidence that ended up, a lot of them still have
having people of their ilk in 100%. Powers of positions.
Yes. The institutions and mainstream then got on board because they were suckered in by that stupid narrative and exactly what John said, the perception that there was so many people behind them. They thought, wow, the modern audience, look at this. If we pander to this modern audience, we will just grow our, our viewers, our customers. It hasn't worked out that well for them. Like, look at all the massive failures. Especially, Doctor Who is the one that comes to mind because there was a trans actor in it that came out and said, for every bigot or person we lose that doesn't love diversity or anything, we'll gain 3 more that loves the diversity. And now Doctor Who's canceled.
Where are they?
Yeah, I don't understand that for the huge percentage of the population, that stuff is like viscerally and physically revolting. And nobody other than people who are already brainwashed into thinking that's okay, wants to see it. Even if you're not like religious or anything, it's like you'd be absolute atheist and just look at 2 dudes with beards kissing each other and be like,
I think wasn't it Shad? I think you pointed out where like most men don't want to see that stuff. Like it's not a
yes. I will give you my exact line. This line triggered like so many people on the left. I said, straight men find gay sex repulsive.
That's do. My line. It's actually pretty true because it's been such a long, like it's a tradition that men will bully those who are not masculine, and this is kind of how it goes.
Yeah, where is the line? But like people like that, you triggered people on the left when it is actually an objective truth. Like what straight men, they're attracted to women. Ergo, they're not attracted to men. And when they see things that they're not attracted to, engage in kind of intimate or sexual things, that repulses. It's just basic biology. Yet it's like...
even on a very base level, the thing that nobody wants to say is that most straight people don't relate to gay people. Or and so when every show ends up throwing them in there, and they always end up having, stuff that's about their relationships or their problems. And, because they're a protected minority, it's always stuff about, bigotry and writing elements like that. But we don't relate to that.
No.
And so it becomes, after all this time, it just becomes monotonous to see. And we just don't want to see it anymore. And they've exhausted all the kinds of
any goodwill that they ever had.
Yeah. It's become... it's just eye rolling. I mean, look at what happened over the weekend with Snoop Dogg. He took his.
I'm about to show that. I actually have it over here if you want to check it out.
Oh, really? Okay. This is very relevant.
Look, this is interesting. Snoop Dogg has triggered like all of the left.
Oh I saw this.
I'm scared to go to the movies after Pixar's gay couple. Like he's like, these are kids. We have to show that at this age. Like he has all these like quotes about how he's scared to go see movies because of the Lightyear lesbian couple and everything. And he's just. Even Snoop Dogg, he's like, no, thank you.
Exactly. Like that stuff is not appropriate for kids. I'm the parent. I will choose when I introduce these concepts to my kids. And these are mature concepts about sexual attraction and stuff like that and gender identity. And so I'm going to introduce to my kids and teach it to them in the context that I feel is appropriate, not Disney trying to force the issue and force it in front of people, in front of kids. And that triggered so many people. And the outcry that the left had over the fact that parents want to be the ones to raise their own kids, right, it is actually insane. And
it's the entire agenda is because, like I said, if you're a normal human being, look, if you're a normal dude, like the idea of actually killing somebody else is repulsive to you, right? But you go into the army and they just drill that into you in practice and whatnot so that you become desensitized to that which is naturally bothersome. And so that's what Disney and these guys they're grooming in mass, trying to sneak this in everywhere they can to desensitize children so that by the time they're teenagers or whatever, they can be easily groomed into that lifestyle.
Yep.
Full Metal Jacket had that exactly kind of that sort of situation where in that movie, you watch it. Yeah, sure, the training session is cool, but what they're actually doing is connecting killing with the man's sexuality. So like they're like the sex drive is connected to their drive to kill in that scenario, which would make it so disturbing.
In which movie?
Full Metal Jacket.
So going back to what John was saying about people unable to relate to kind of homosexual stories and stuff like that, that is that is actually just true. And the reason is, right, is because a straight person, right, I'm not attracted to men. And so then you have this kind of story of this man going after another man. I don't relate to that. Where in contrast, like when you see Peter Parker in Spider-Man seeing a girl that he really likes, that he is attracted to, but has trouble kind of building a relationship.
Hopefully someone that's not Zendaya.
Well, she's not Mary Jane, so we could reject her. But no, not like every teenage boy, right, young man can relate to that experience. The girl that is attracted to, and trying to get up the courage to build a relationship, and there you become invested and you imprint yourself in the role. Where Peter Parker's victories, you get kind of this secondhand appreciation, enjoyment out of, because you are kind of seeing yourself in that position. That's the whole point of storytelling, wish fulfillment, all that kind of stuff, right? And we can do that because if we were in the same position, we would want the same thing. They want straight people to feel those same things in, all these gay romances and stuff. And we're just not going to do it because we don't want that thing. In actual fact, we're kind of repelled by that thing. And so 100%, straight people have difficulty relating to stories that involve characters going into homosexual relationships and stuff. And guess what? You can't attack people for that. I'll try, but that's their sexual preference. I thought you have to respect people's sexual preferences unless it goes against the direction that they want to push it in, right? And unironically, it gets to the point where the left, right, this woke ideological mob starts to scream at straight people saying, you need to watch the gays' sex and like it. I'm not kidding. That was the response for me saying, like, straight people find gay sex repulsive. No, you should be able to watch gay porn and not be bothered by it. And I was like, what? What clown world have we entered?
No. Did you see that article where they said straight men like to hang out naked together and stuff like that and cuddle and kiss? Like,
yeah,
what?
Guys like to hang out and cuddle. No.
I got news for you. Those guys aren't straight. Those guys are gay.
That was my response to people saying that, is like, if that's your standard, if you can watch that and not be bothered by it, I got news for you. Oh my god!
They also discount the oversaturation of it in so much media that when you start to attack on this element to so many shows and movies and comics, books, everything like that, eventually it becomes a trend that culturally a trend that people just start to turn away from. We all love our big muscle bound action movies from the 80s. Sorry about that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Made a little sus. But let's be honest, when the early 90s were starting to come in here, the Arnies and the Stallones were kind of falling out of fashion. How many times could you, by that point, watch a shirtless muscle dude mow down the population of a small island? They were good for what they were, but, different kinds of action heroes kind of popped up in the 90s, kind of take their place. Any story element that's oversaturated ends up becoming just something that people eventually get tired of, and especially in publishing.
Look, in the movie Commando, when John Matrix penetrates Bennett with his throbbing giant knife, it was awesome. It was really cool. Oil
not
him up,
gay at all.
Not gay at all. Twists that knife, just.
Do you know who wrote that?
No.
Was it Arnold
Wasn't a
Schwarzenegger?
gay guy?
No, it was Jeff Loeb.
That was Jeff Loeb.
That was Jeff Loeb.
I didn't know that.
Commando is one of the greats. It's one of the greats.
We're joking about it. But unironically, this is something that the left tries to do as well. They try and push normal masculine kind of literature, fantasy genres and stuff, and try and queer code it. Because guys, when I see Dragon Ball Z and Goku ripped and everything like that, I like it not because I'm attracted to Goku, but because I'd like to look like that.
I want to go to the gym.
Cool. I'm going to go to the gym.
I got
to go to the gym right now and become Super Saiyan, of course.
Exactly.
I can relate to that.
But they unironically try and queer code it to say, no, like anyone who likes Conan the Barbarian, you're definitely gay, right? It's like, no.
That's one of the most frustrating kinds of people on Twitter is they will look at two characters that these two characters may look at each other and smile and they're like, they're gay now. It's canon. It's like,
Sam and Frodo. They have been trying to shit
Piss
Sam and
off.
Frodo for years, right? And
I'll never forgive Smith for that.
That stuff used to
What he
work.
did, he
Like
made.
Okay, remember that the whole thing where they try to push Hunter Schafer as Zelda? That stuff used to work. Like they'll make their own make their own
They're
pairings.
still trying.
Yeah, because they used to work for them. It used to be like, well, okay, we want this trans person or this gay person or this non-binary person to play this role, and then someone would tweet out, and they would all retweet it and like it, and then articles be written about it, saying that fans
are calling for it. Yeah, no.
Fans are demanding, fans are calling for, fans are rushing or raging about this person, and then they'll do. Remember that we did with we saw that with what's her name
last week
with Rebecca Ramsey, where she was like she was asked
she'd like to be Spider-Man.
What Marvel character would you like to be? I don't know. I guess Spider-Man. And then boom, article.
I guess Spider-Man. I've never heard of anybody else.
Yeah, that's the only character she knew. So like then articles are written about Ramsey wants to play Spider-Man. Marvel looking to Ramsey to play Spider-Man. Like it was like, that's not the quote, guys. That's not how it went down. I watched it go down. So I went down. She's like, I don't know, Spider-Man. Boom. It's like, okay. Then it was so that they can push her to be Spider-Man. She didn't necessarily want to be Spider-Man, but the media guys did.
Oh,
and so
yeah,
they want that quote.
I mean, dude, we did the whole live stream on it, and the amounts of people that got behind it was just ridiculous.
I still can't decide whether I hate that guy or love that guy.
Yeah, I know. Right? I'm exactly same there with you. Let's catch up on some of the super chats and then get back to the article. So, Wooin Bushiri 6903 $5 says, bowing to the cancel crowd is never enough. Yes, 100%. They become like the sharks that have smelled blood. Don't apologize. They'll crucify you with your own words. And yeah, the apology is never enough. I've never seen the cancel mob respond to an apology by saying, we forgive you. Thank you for apologizing. All they say is like, see, you admit that you're wrong, and now your life deserves to be ruined twice over because
it's way worse.
Yeah.
There's no concept of forgiveness with the cancel mob.
Exactly. They're heartless, hateful, insane crazies, right? That just want to destroy people's lives for their own, virtue. I can't stand it. Buddy Rat, good to see you. Buddy Rat, $5 says, remember, kids, sticks and stones may break my bones, but first you got to throw them.
You don't have to throw it. You can hold it.
That also works. Smatia for 999 says, apologizing to these window lickers is as effective as walking into a pit bull kennel while wearing a porterhouse loincloth. The only feasible option they have ever given us is to fight back. That's that's an interesting point, right? Where the extreme left, they do not want to get along with anyone that they disagree with. They want to excise them, excommunicate them, destroy them, everything. Like peaceful coexistence to them doesn't seem to be an option, right? And they're the ones that decide to, disassociate for anyone who have bad opinions, happen to be multiple times, right? And I'm here thinking, like, I'm happy to be friends with any, as long as they're not advocating for something so horrible as like murder in the extreme or something like that. If you just have mild political differences to me, I'm happy to be friends with you still, right? But holy crap, in the reverse, I'm no different from Hitler for the fact that I said that straight men find gay sex repulsive. The
extreme left hates everyone, including the slightly extreme left. Because they're only slightly extreme.
They're not as extreme as them.
Like J.K. Rowling has become a star for the right, but she's still like 99% on their side.
She is insanely woke nearly on every single point except one thing. And that one thing has made it worse than it.
That's the big one.
Well, exactly. That's the biggest sacred cow they have seemingly at the moment. But the pushback against that has been so good to see. It took too long, but we're finally seeing it. And there were big watershed moments about that. One of the bigger watershed moments that I don't think probably gets enough credit is Az's rant against Starfield.
Oh, yeah. I actually kind of like that.
it was great, but it got so much attention online, and what it showed so many people is that we're getting fed up with this crap. People are getting fed up with this crap, and there was so many. I think the silent majority heard everyone retweeting and trying to dunk on Az, right, that were actually agreeing with him. It's like, oh, but he's kind of right. I'm getting sick of this too. It's everywhere. And that went.
You talk about someone who can't be canceled. My God, right there. Watching Az go through that. And he's right. A year later, who's talking about what was it called? Starfield? Yeah.
I can't remember the name anymore.
Yeah. It was bad. It was boring. I enjoyed watching Razorfist stream it just for the bugs, which is about all the Bethesda games are good for nowadays. And now Bethesda has hired the main quest writer for Dragon Age the Veil.
Dragon Age Veilguard. It's like, can you try and commit suicide any more than you are?
Elder Scrolls 6 is cooked.
Why did they do this?
That was catastrophic. People didn't hear. Everyone, Bethesda hired the writer for the Dragon Age Veilguard. Unbelievable.
What, Elder Scrolls 6? Okay, what are your characters' pronouns? Masculine body, but vagina. Oh, fantastic! Can't wait for this to happen.
I can't believe it.
Can't they read the room? Trump is president. Okay, look, you got to read the room sometimes and see that no one wants this stuff anymore. No one wants Veilguard style writing. I mean, just don't.
Except the modern audience, the mob, the activists,
the mythical
that are
modern
all
audience
on board with it. And this thing, the people in Bethesda, that's what the company is made from. They hired that person because she writes in the ideological lens that they not only love, they want to promote and to put in their game. That's the only, and so they might be idiots that just can't see the cultural shift, or they are aware of it, and this is them actively trying to do their thing and push back against it. Watch how it turns out for you, Bethesda. You will end up destroying your company more than it is, because holy crap, the hellscape that Bethesda has become. They got, the Oblivion remake was a win for them, but it's so funny. It's like, that's your old game. It's like, yeah, you used to make good stuff.
It's the same game. It's just better graphics. It's like, they got smart. They learned from Blizzard, I think, because Blizzard tried the whole Warcraft 3 Reforged, and that was a disaster. And so when Blizzard went ahead and redid Diablo 2, like, okay, same game, guys, just better graphics. Exactly the same game, though. So they kind of did that with Oblivion. Exactly the same game, better graphics. They learned their lesson.
Nathan Cassidy for $4.99 says, I think a bigger truth is people do not gravitate towards ideas that go against not having kids. And that's why wokeness won't last. This is an interesting point because
they go against nature, because Mother Nature is not a feminist.
This is very, very true, honestly. Like, there is something that resonates with people. Like, both men and women have this idyllic dream of raising a family, getting married with someone that you love, and there's a reciprocal, positive, good relationship, right? And then raising kids in happiness, right? Is this ideal that both men and women have. And that end is often the reward in so many like fantasies and stuff like that. But in action and everything, from action to romance, the end reward is something so wholesome and normal that people gravitate and appreciate, and it resonates, and it's been in writing for so long. But guess what? That goes against the woke narrative. That means a heterosexual relationship. How dare you? How dare you promote and venerate that and propose that as something to be? No, it needs to be it. And so the left, honestly, the woke mob, they try and promote any type of sexual deviancy that goes against normal heterosexual wholesome relationships, anything, no matter how perverse, right? And I got pissed off with this recently with the release of Peacemaker Season 2. Holy crap.
How is that?
So, one of the most hateful pieces of media I've ever seen. One of the most despicable, awful, detestable, that's the word, is one of the most detestable pieces of media I've ever seen. I've tried to excise it from my memory. But there's one thing that kind of stands out. a whole lot of flapping dongs in your face. No joke. There is a bisexual orgy, full frontal
in Peacemaker 2.
Disgusting in Peacemaker season 2, episode 1.
It starts with a drug-fueled bisexual orgy, and not even lying.
It's one of the most like vile, degenerate things put to media, where they were trying to copy like.
I thought Peacemaker was standard DC, not Vertigo.
No. And they
supposed to
they go all the way, right? And here's the thing: that I have not heard a single person on the ideological left, right, condemn it for what it is. How honestly just it is also completely pointless. Like, this is one of the most pointless injections of the creator's own sexual fetish I've ever seen. Right?
Who did the Peacemaker the show? Is it James Gunn or is it somebody else?
James Gunn.
Yeah,
this is James Gunn.
He directed.
Let's just follow up to Superman.
Wrote and directed this thing. He was on set during the filming of that orgy, behind the camera jerking off, 100%.
I mean, if you've seen some of James Gunn's tweets in the past, the ones that he's tried to bury and almost got canceled for, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I would not let this man babysit children.
No, he is actually.
I wouldn't really let anyone from Hollywood babysit any children.
Yeah,
no. He is like a pervert, and this show demonstrates that completely. And again, not a single objection for anyone on the woke ideological left, right? But hang on, these are the people. I thought they had a problem with the sexual objectification of women. Do you see them all lose their friggin' minds when Stella Blade was being released? And it's like, oh, it's a woman in an more idealized, sexual thing. No woman can be like that.
That was appealing to men. That was appealing to men. If it's appealing to men, it's wrong.
And also, her design was based off of a Korean model, a real person, and they're trying to say no woman could look like that. Is like, you might want.
Korean models don't exist.
If you look in the publishing industry, the exact same hypocrisy is all over the romantasy, dark romance genres. Especially if you're looking around on Book Talk and Bookstagram, not only do they like it, they are shameless in it. And it's only just now starting to kind of cross into like the Book Talk area that people are kind of noticing this and calling it out. That was one reason why my Target bookshelf tweet went up, is because I kind of called it out. I said, this is nothing, and I quote, but book chick lit, Book Talk slop, and monster effer romance. And my goodness, they didn't like being called out like that. But now other booktubers are starting to call it out and say, hey, we're starting to notice that the majority of these, this vast trend of female romance, it's all smut. It's all porn. And all of a sudden, the people who were bitching at us about chainmail bikinis and things like that in fantasy, well, now you've oversaturated it worse than we ever did.
Exactly, to the extreme. The degenerate crap that they have pushed fantasy to is 1,000 times worse than Red Sonja ever even approached.
It's insane. There's this one video this one lady did, and she went over the bad side of all this stuff and how it's like almost a feminist backfire, because all of this smut is so it gets more and more extreme, and it has this, apparently it's having the same effect on women as pornography, visual pornography has on men.
Yeah.
And she even says, like, one person said that she likes the literary aspect of it because you can do more things in a book, because some things in the book would be illegal if it were in a video. And that's why she liked it.
Mask off much, holy.
They love the taboo nature of it. There is stuff in there that is genuinely concerning. But even they will admit, and I've seen the Book Talk and Bookstagram video shorts that they do, where they admit, like, a lot of the stuff that's in there, that wouldn't fly with them in real life. And it's kind of funny that they're acknowledging their own hypocrisy, and they just don't like it when other people call them out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
some people, some of the women were like, actually do know this stuff. Actually do like realize that this is bad. I should get out of here. But here's where the feminist backfire comes in, because it's all okay according to society, because it's women. It's women reading books. Because when men exercise their sexuality, when they look up porn, that's evil and vile. That's evil man heterosexuality. It's bad. You need to get some help. You need to get your dick off or whatever. But when women do it, it's empowering. So when women watch or read pornography, read smut, it's considered empowering. So when these some of these young women who are reading these books and not getting and kind of realize they're going down this dark rabbit hole, like, hey, I want to get out of this. This is bad, isn't it? But when they do that, one, there's no help, because it's all considered empowerment. So unlike men, they don't men who get chastised and demonized every single day of their lives. They don't men at least because of that, men have like place to go to get out of this stuff. They have people that can help them get out of this porn addiction thing. Women do not have that, because society has been convinced that this is not bad at all, no matter how degenerate the fiction can get. It's just empowerment. And then also when they speak up about it, not only can they not get help or find any way to get out of it, some support group, the people around them will go, hey, stop, you have a internalized misogyny, stop complaining about it. This is wrong. So there's like no way out for women who kind of recognize how bad this stuff is. No help, and they get chastised and shouted down.
And it's genuinely disgusting stuff. Like if any young girl like absorbs even the mildest of this crap, it's going to be so damaging to their relationships going into the future. Like this is a type of evil literature, right? I can't say it. And then there's the added layer of hypocrisy, the fact that they constantly attack straight male kind of sexual either expression or attraction, right? As the male gaze, how dare you, it's so problematic, when they are so much worse with their sexual degeneracy. And it's anything that is outside of a traditional heterosexual expression or relationship. If it's deviant in any way, like what they see in Peacemaker, or if it's having sex with a bear in Baldur's Gate 3, they celebrate it to the moon, right? No joke. They
and their first line of defense is, this doesn't affect you. Let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. Well, why? Where was that attitude when you were criticizing us for what we were reading, which was much tamer by comparison?
100%.
If that was the case, then why did they have to change Star Wars? Why did they have changed Marvel? Why did they change all this other stuff? Tolkien?
Why did they change the Carl's Jr. commercials?
Yeah, like that. Like it's another one of their gaslighting attempts. It was, to them, they might say like, "Oh, just let us have our fun," but they were never okay for men to have their fun. They've tried to destroy the male, genres and fantasy expressions across the board.
This ends up tying into a phenomenon. Before my YouTube channel was nuked, I was wanting to cover this phenomenon that I've observed my entire life, of where when men have a space, a hobby, anything, for some reason, there's always.
Sorry, is this Jordan in the chat? If she is, thank you for joining.
Hi, Jordy.
Appreciate you.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
I know Kirsten is watching.
Hey, awesome.
Whenever there's a male space of some sort of hobby, hunting, whatever, there's always some woman, some nag out there who's like, well, why don't you let girls come and do it? And they invade these men's spaces and just
on that note,
eradicate what it was.
Can I interject just on this note, John? Because when you say invade, right? Part of the reason why they were able to get into spaces so readily is because men wanted them in. Like a guy, no joke, my entire experience of my whole life, right? Any guy, any nerd that found a girl who was mildly interested in any of the things we like, from Dungeons and Dragons to comic books to superheroes to fantasy to Lord of the Rings, we're like, hell yeah! And we actually tried to draw them in, because guys, here's a truth, right? Guys love it when girls play with their toys. Just saying. Okay.
Yeah, they should relate it to Thelma. Guys want Thelma, right?
That's but a lot of the time when they come into the spaces, they end up wanting it changed. It's
that's
the equivalent of your mom, your dad forcing you to let your little sister come into the treehouse, and you're like, but she's just going to put sprinkles and unicorns and rainbows everywhere, and the treehouse is an imaginatory spaceship. And then,
or meth
sure
lab.
enough, that's exactly what happens.
Well, yeah, there was a good number of girls who did come in and loved it at the way it was, right? But then the activists got on board because they saw it as a means to take change who's at the head of the cultural kind of
that's that aspect always reminds me of remember when Rings of Power was coming out and they got the super fans? It's like, yeah, right. I could change Sauron. And this guy is like, yeah, these certainly do feel like Tolkien fans. Yeah.
Sorry, I did cut you off though, John. What were you saying?
This might be a deep cut for some people. There was an episode. I mean, they've been at this a long time. There was this episode of Quantum Leap a long time ago. I remember watching it when I was a kid, and it was he leapt into the body of a woman's suffrage activist that was fighting for women to get included into a men's club, and by men's club I mean a cigars and brandy club, where their husbands would go and they would just meet. As this whole episode ended with the women staging a sit-in. What do you want to? Why do women want to go into a cigar and brandy's men's club? They just wanted to bulldoze them because they said women weren't allowed in their club. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
dare you?
You know, even as a kid, I'm sitting there watching this. Why would you want to go in there? What does it matter to you that guys go in there and smoke cigars and drink brandy and BS all day? You know,
something's making our husbands happy in here. You want to figure out what?
Yeah. This is a problem. It's like when the wife wants to go fishing with you and then complains a lot of the time that you're there. You end up cutting the trip short because she's tired of getting bit by mosquitoes and it's almost lunchtime and doesn't want the sandwiches you brought. I might be speaking a little from more personal experience.
I was wondering if this is from your diary.
Hello, I'm not the only. Trust me, I'm in the South. I'm not the only guy that's had this particular scenario happen.
We've touched on something that I find interesting, and it's a bit of a tangent, but we'll bring it back. I'm loving all the things that you guys are saying, but what I find interesting, right? And throwing this out there, I want to hear your guys' opinion on it, right? Do you think there's a tendency for girls to find some interest in what is more traditionally male kind of catered, focused, targeted media than it is for men to find interest in girls' targeted media? I tend to think that skews more often that girls will find kind of than it is.
Yeah, because we do more interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this shows with shonen. I mean, a lot of women do love things about shonen. Like My Hero Academia, that's a shonen. That's for boys. But women love, the girls flock to it for the shipping because all the characters, they want to ship them together.
You see, because one of the reasons, right? A lot of male media actually has embedded in it things that girls also really, really like. Romance. Because guys actually, here's the shock thing. Guys love a good romance if it has action with it. And if it's a hero and is saving the damsel in distress. And guess what? Women, they also love the trope of the damsel in distress. Both men and women love that traditional trope.
Yeah, but men like it for the reward.
Yeah, men want to save women,
chase, right?
And women want to be
desire. And they want to be captured.
Yeah,
well,
so I mean, men want to go
women, and
go in there and win.
Well, women traditionally, if they're in trouble, they want to be saved. Okay,
they want the strong, competent man.
A strong, competent man, right? And so I find it interesting that in a lot of men's kind of genre fiction and targeted media, right, there is this kind of embedded kind of thing that girls will also like, which has often made it a bit more not only broadly appealing, oftentimes quite broadly more successful. Star Wars is well, not anymore, but it was a lot bigger than Pride and Prejudice, right? And by the way, here's the thing. I actually do love Pride and Prejudice, right? But it is harder for me to enjoy. I still can enjoy it, but it's harder for me to enjoy than Star Wars. Star Wars has laser swords, everyone. They're like freaking awesome.
That's cool.
There's also, there's some
what
romance
about
in Star Wars.
Pride and Prejudice and zombies?
That's better.
Yeah, that was good.
I tried it. I actually think that's like Pride and Prejudice is one of the greatest stories, like greatest works of literature in the world. Hands down.
Yeah, throw some zombies in it. Best of both worlds.
It doesn't complement the story, and it doesn't work. I couldn't get into it. Where in a lot of romances they complement the story, right? But the thing is, though, most guys they won't get into Pride and Prejudice because it doesn't actually have a lot of things that guys love. It actually does, but it's quite subtle. There is a bit of a, damsel in distress, masculine man here saving her, but he doesn't do it with a sword or killing lots of people or beating people up. But Mr. Darcy, he's a Chad. He's a legend, Mr. Darcy. And the traditional elements in it are brilliant. And
who wrote Mr. Darcy? Who wrote him? Was it an evil man wanting to live out a power fantasy?
No.
Or was it a woman? It's a woman that wrote Mr. Darcy.
There knew what she wanted in a man.
It's almost like women like strong, women like Gary Stews. Women like these impossible men. They like.
But also, so many people love Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy is a bit rude, a bit blunt, a bit, he doesn't do the best in social situations, and that's the whole premise of it, because he offends, a
little bit of vulnerability.
Elizabeth so much to begin with because he was so prideful, and she became very prejudiced against him.
He's got a strong strength, but a vulnerability. But
even though he was judgmental, Darcy has an infallible moral character about him, where he will go out of his way to help and even save people and seek no recognition or reward from it at all, right? He has some genuinely top-tier virtues that women, they friggin' love Mr. Darcy, right? And he's a great character to hold up as an example of positive masculinity.
And women love that Sigma man.
Like, boys, they're just going to have more trouble getting into it because he doesn't kill things in action or swords or anything like that. And that's just the reality, okay? And you can't shame men for not being... But what I find interesting is that
also
because...
reminded me of Jean Valjean and Lopez.
And look, we are probably painting with quite broad
I
brushes.
like Javert.
But I think there is some truth. I think
I'm
we're
Javert.
touching on some truth. I do love Les Mis. Les Mis is great.
If I may interject, this has been an interesting thing that I've actually been kind of studying over the last year or so, because one of my favorite authors of all time is a classic from Australia, Shad, which is Sarah Douglas, who, interestingly enough, was a failed romance author first and then jumped over to fantasy and found success. And because of her, I've always kind of believed in reading outside your genre to kind of see what you can end up picking up. More to your point about the crossover, I've always kind of viewed it as kind of a Venn diagram between men's genre fiction and women's genre preferences. That there's kind of a good 30 to 20% of overlap between men who will read into women's genres or TV shows that are typically more female in nature, whereas there's also women who will they prefer guys fiction anyway because that's structured in a way they enjoy a lot more. You said there were some girls that were there from the beginning. One of them was my friend R.H. Snow, author of Watch of the Damned. She was an OG nerd. She was playing D&D back when it was brand spanking new, right? And those girls, they should be treasured. But in the last year, I mentioned Book Talk and Bookstagram because I'm kind of studying like, what do they like? Why do they like it? It really kind of sent me at times down an interesting psychological rabbit hole of what really drives men and women's psyches when it comes to the kind of entertainment they like and why they like it. That guy you see on YouTube, Homath, he actually breaks down some of this really well. He needs to be a little more concise with it. But one real big thing is that I've found is the difference between what men and women like when it comes to heroism. Men see heroism through struggle. Women view heroism via validation. And when you start to kind of really, really break a lot of those processes down, you end up understanding what you can put in your writing that will appeal to different readers.
I mean,
it's
said
really interesting.
No, like not only interesting, it goes deep. What John just said there, how men will identify with heroism through struggle and women identify with heroism through what was validation, you said?
Yes.
Was it? Like, that has deep kind of connections to general male and female psyche, right? There are reasons behind that. And you see it like in so many of the co-opted male franchises that we see, from Marvel to Lord of the Rings, to Star Wars, right? Where they inject these female Mary Sue-esque girl boss characters. One of the primary kind of defining story plots of these girl boss characters is that they were perfect all along, and everyone just needed to see how great they were and acknowledge it and validate it, right? Captain Marvel is the perfect example where her power was literally suppressed by the evil man, and she just had to embrace her greatness that was always there. It is just this self-validating nonsense thing, right?
Now, was that a white man?
Yeah, it was.
Well, what other kind of man would it be?
But the thing is, though, I think a lot of women also find that. Do you think there's another aspect of this thing where that, because I think there is a large group of women that do naturally gravitate towards that type of storytelling, and I think it can come from natural insecurities that women have. Now, I'm not saying men can't be insecure, but in terms of the way it's approached and dealt with in society, especially how a lot of female sexual marketplace values is invested on their looks versus men, where it's more on the things that we accrue our how good of a provider we can be and stuff like that, where a lot of women can naturally feel very insecure about their appearance and things, and there are some there are some women who then don't want to work on their appearance, and they get resentful and say, "Date me, dare you say I'm not attractive?" And
is he locking up, or is it just me?
He's roboting on me pretty bad.
Oh, good.
Australia's dissolving back into the other dimension he usually goes in. I think.
Maybe his wife pulled the plug on the router.
That would be his router. It's not a router.
Kind of give himself.
Well, that's important. Come back, Shad. Come back.
I know. I had a great point, but now I can't remember it because I was tripping out that he was a.
Sacrifice a kangaroo to see if it appeases the Aussie gods.
Well, yeah, it seems to be the case that what the biggest detriment to modern day media and probably society in general is the insistence that we treat men and women as if they are the same, like exactly the same, not equal, but they are the same, and there are no differences, and that for some reason, and that they push a narrative that all the mean boys of the past have this gate-kept women from these franchises. Not that they have been disinterested, but that men, by and large, have gate-kept women out of D&D and the Lord of the Rings and Marvel, and that women were, by and large, so rated to indulge in those franchises and those hobbies. But mean old men said no girls allowed, and so they couldn't ever do that. And so according to their narrative, they're correcting that record. They're correcting that record and saying, okay, we're allowing women can go do this now. They can join D&D and everything, and they're not. They're not, at least not in the numbers that they thought they would. The only way they're getting women to join D&D, for example, is just making everything gay and whittling down to almost nothing. It's a very coddling culture now, D&D, to the point where everyone is jumping, even woke D&D YouTubers are jumping ship on D&D, which is an indication of how bad it's gotten. Even Critical Role has jumped ship on D&D. They're making their own system now.
But did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened with their Campaign 4 announcement? They are sticking with D&D for Campaign 4, and a lot of fans are really mad about it because they thought that was the whole purpose of Daggerheart, was to end up being them going their own way completely and separate from D&D.
So they went back. They said they went crawling back. I guess the money was.
I knew it.
But the thing is, as you mentioned, the fans are angry. The fans do not want them to go to D&D. The fans want them to break away from it because there's so many people out there that are breaking away from D&D, and Critical Role was a big one. It was a big rebellion. I guess they were desperate to bring them back. We can't lose. If we lose Critical Role, we're done. That's kind of
it was such a big part of the resurgence of 5e, along with Stranger Things. I feel like they at least needed to keep them on board long enough to get over the hump of Stranger Things ending, and maybe to the next edition, whenever that's going to end up being. But I think the train's already pulled out of the station on that. Like the D&D's big, massive boom that they had several years ago is really kind of going down. A lot of their business decisions are ultimately what's led that. Just creative decisions that are just mind-bogglingly stupid, trying to turn it into something that you could microtransact like a video game. No, it's many bad, really bad issues. And when I heard the pitch for campaign 4, like I watched all of Critical Role through campaign 3. I'm not there for campaign 4 after what they said.
I've watched the Amazon show for the violence mostly, but it was kind of interesting to see that come to life. I did like it. They were fair with the show. We're like, yeah, it was woke, but it had woke elements in it, but they were fair with, like, women got killed as much as men, for example. So it was interesting.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Interesting twist. They were doing the other campaign with the more famous characters like Jester and like Goblin Girl thing.
I'm waiting on that one.
I'm interested in seeing that. So we'll see how that goes. I cannot watch the actual show. It's way too boring to me.
I fully understand. Look, it was really good binge material for me when I was working through the COVID time in healthcare, and I stuck with it for as long as I could, but campaign 4 is just not. Yeah, and I see what Zach said. Zach Attacks down there says he stuck with it until the beginning of season 3. Season 3 was a slog and a bore at times, and they made a lot of really weird decisions in that just made me not want to finish watching. Sorry, I know it's this stream's not about Critical Role. Shad's coming back, guys. He says he's resetting his internet.
He's resetting his rada. But so that the whole thing has been that men and women can enjoy the same stuff. It's just that we evil men have been gatekeeping out of all this action things, and that now it's women's time to take it all back. But the thing is, men and women are not the same. That's kind of it, and it's really it became, at least for a time, and probably even today, offensive and wrong to say that. And one of these inconvenient facts, as Sam Hyde likes to say, but. It's like their insistence on ignoring the fact that men and women are different has caused Western culture to not only stagnate but plummet. So like, we got to have this action movie appeal to women by putting a girl boss in there, and then nobody watches it because no one wants that.
And the critical mistake that they made when it came to the boys' properties was thinking, well, we can just put a girl in what would traditionally be a male role with male characteristics, and it'll work. It'll work out just fine. And that was not true at all. Doctor Who, probably the best example of that, because that's what they thought. They could just gender swap the Doctor and keep the writing the same, and it did not work because men and women perceive each other very differently.
And look, if you look at
they don't want to acknowledge that.
You see, remember that when the boom of Doctor Who, what was the formula? It was handsome doctor and young girl, right? It's like first you got Rose, who was like 19 or something like that. So, plucky young girl, which is the demographic of women that were watching Doctor Who around that, or at least the fantasy age that even older women would acknowledge themselves to be. And then we had, I think, Martha Jones, and then we had Amy Pond, all these like young women around the demographic or the age range of women that would watch it. And it boomed. And then what happened? Oh, we got Peter Capaldi, kind of an older guy. Well, he was a brilliant doctor. Terrible scripts, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But fantastic doctor. But then we got Doctor Who being a woman, and then boom, no one watched it anymore. It just died. It just died.
They ended up trading the older man, younger girl dynamic for a will they, won't they, potentially lesbian ship that they teased intentionally several times throughout that show. He's back.
He's back. Muted though.
Lesbian shippers is not a big audience magnet. I'm sorry to say.
Not really.
I mean, I'm not sorry to say, but you're just not going to build an audience on that kind of thing. Then they've tried. Look at the Acolyte. My God, that was tailor made for that particular audience. Crap. And it's been a year since it ended, guys. I saw it on my Facebook memories.
It was almost tailor made to the audience, except for one thing, and that's when Osha saw the guy's dick and instantly turned evil for him. That was she saw dick, boom, evil. Whatever you say is true.
So what I find interesting, like all the things that we've been talking about, how people on a very clear ideological spectrum have been pushing certain things and co-opting mainstream sources and they've been failing dramatically. Well, that's what we've been seeing in the publishing industry for many years. And the thing is, though, I have not seen any signs of that changing in the publishing industry. I see it just getting more extreme and more worse. And so much of it is driven by the publishers and the literary agents. And we've got a couple of examples. This is going to kind of reel us back to the article where these literary agents and publishers, they don't want straight white men authors. In fact, they don't even want straight white men characters. They want diverse characters. They want all these things that pushes this woke agenda. And to the point where there's nearly nothing in mainstream publishing. There's a couple here and there, but for the large majority, so little is there for straight men to enjoy. And it's kind of crazy how extreme it's really gotten. Like, all that smut stuff we were talking about that is in romantasy and things like that. The reason why it's flooded is because the publishers and the literary agents are the ones who've been pushing it so much. And I don't know if they've been infested by people who are of this ideological lens in the companies, or they've been the same people there, but fooled by this woke narrative saying this is what the modern audience is after, and you just get a larger audience or something like that. That has just infested it so much, right? And there is a very large and vocal group who are trying to keep it this way and push it this way. And if you say even the slightest thing, even just kind of pointing out that, yeah, they don't want, straight characters in mainstream publishing, the cancel mob goes insane. And we circle all the way back with what we've been covering here with this article, because that's the cause of what happened. So going back to what Kristen has been saying here, last week, a lady I've never spoken to or heard of was driven off Twitter. Her crime? Author Jordan Lee noticed that literary agents weren't interested in the kinds of books she was writing, specifically because she is white, straight, and female, and her characters are all straight. She didn't spell this out, but I assume her main characters are white as well. And so this is the tweet. This is the cardinal sin that caused the dogpiling. Okay? And Jordan writes, reasons I think I'm being rejected. Honestly, I wrote another young adult dystopian novel. I'm creating a debut novel that is the first in a trilogy. And so these are the reasons why she thinks she might be getting rejected. I am straight, cis, white female who writes straight, cis females. My query letter, blurb, elevator pitch is weak. That's the first tweet. And it seems like everyone latched. Not only did they just not read on to the second tweet, right? But they latched onto one thing. And I actually think this validates what might be the main reason. Like, if they're out of these three reasons, why do you think one of those reasons triggered so many people, and none of the other ones, gentlemen? Why would you say that?
You're not supposed to say that.
Oh, yeah. It's like saying the quiet part out loud, and they don't like it, because I actually feel the hate and vitriol that got heaped onto Jordan in response to this is evidence as to what reason she was getting rejected. Out of all these reasons, kind of indicates that this might be the main thing, right?
Well, I would say that the reason why this is the cause probably so much uproar is because if this were any other era, right, and someone came out and say this, oh, you're being entitled, oh, you're crazy, this is definitely not what's happening, you're just bitter. But because it's almost like common knowledge that this sort of discrimination is just common in the entertainment industry. It's like when you say that, you can't say that because that people will believe you. Because, of course she's being discriminated against because she's straight and white. Of course she is.
Yeah, and if you think it's bad for her, imagine if she was a man, a straight white man. All right? And like, this is an open kind of, I wouldn't even say secret at this point, where literary agents literally say, I'm looking for diverse authors and diverse characters. And that's what, and they're just basically been getting turned down and being told, yeah, I'm, like, you're a straight man, not interested. And effectively, like, they've just come out and admitted it so many times. And Kirsten, Kristen, has a great video where she talked about, what's going on with men's fiction. It's about 6 months old now. And she did a follow-up one, and she shares comments by so many people who's just been rejected on the grounds of them being straight white men. It's insane. Jordan goes on to say, for those of you not understanding why I mentioned that, I think a reason why I'm being rejected is because I write cisgender characters in heterosexual relationships, because that's what I can relate to, have experience with. We kind of mentioned that before, that like straight people kind of relate to straight romances and stories because we've gone through similar things, and we can kind of see ourselves in those roles even more, either as the main character or the wish fulfillment kind of thing. And she says, I have seen this in a lot of lit agents. MSWL, what's that? I don't know what that. But this is what she sees, especially interested in non-straight romances and or non-white characters for this genre. You know what this means right here? Do not want straight characters or white characters. That's not just like, oh, I'm interested. That's them saying, no, if you don't give me this, you're going to be rejected completely. Right? That's them saying the quiet part out loud.
And she is not alone in this. I know several male indie authors personally who have gone through the process of trying to, do it the old-fashioned way. They got their manuscript done. They're submitting it to publishers. They're submitting it to agents. And a lot of them had come back before they decided to go with self-publishing, saying that they were told very similar things. That your story's great, but this is not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is more LGBTQ, BIPOC representation kinds of stories. And so either they're excluded in that particular way. It's not uncommon, and these are really good authors who have stuff that could be legit mainstream kind of successes. If we were still in the era of where mainstream entertainment was much as viable as it was in the past. I released an article on Substack today talking about how entertainment is decentralized, and really it's completely fractured. They don't have the levers of control anymore. They can't bottleneck everyone's interest to the exact same venues that they used to have. So
huge. My novel has outsold what the average fantasy mainstream author, is able to achieve in orders of magnitude, right? And it's still selling. Shadow of the Conqueror. People can check it out right here. In fact, I see a copy that you have right there, John. Check that out. And
I have one too.
I have that and the second edition, the first edition, and the graphic novel.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! And check out John's book as well.
Sorry, I was. Oh yeah.
What?
Check out John's book. Sorry, I didn't want to railroad that.
No.
I was just saying. I was sorry.
See where the meme came to life.
Oh, gorgeous! It's a beautiful.
I had to step away and go do some man's work. The main line was backed up, so I had to go flush it.
I had to step away because my
women
internet
don't do
died,
that.
And I live in Australia.
Wait, what? Your internet, yeah.
Yeah. But genuinely, right? I find it really interesting that my book has done really well without the need of mainstream publishing in any way. And not only that, I think I would have been cancelled 100 times over if I went through mainstream at this point. Holy crap. And that could have been a big disaster. I think they either wouldn't have promoted my book at all, or just unlisted me, or just take it off, withdraw my book from
Shad. Speaking of perspectives by this point, I think a lot of people owe you an apology, because they're like, oh, it has rape in there and stuff. I was like, have you seen
Romanticy?
At this romanticy era? It's like, wait a minute.
Should make it a bestseller then.
Yeah, I know, right? And by the way,
How the Conqueror is tame. It's part of the dinosaur compared to this stuff.
Most of the sexual assault is referred to in flashbacks, and the only actual sexual assault that happens in the story is the main character killing the rapist, right? Throwing him out of a window after he removes his manhood.
You know what'd be funny is if you had make a fake ID, make a fake persona, present yourself as a female lesbian aboriginal, and then promote the book, change the name of the title of the book to something that a woman would like a female sex fantasy.
The Conqueror of Women.
Yeah. Like what's her name? What's the female's name? Why am I
Lyra?
blanking? I've written
Get
this.
in my
Yeah.
swamp.
Lyra gets conquered.
Oh, dude, no.
And then resubmit it
Oh,
to some
dude.
publishers, and they'd be like, oh, this is perfect.
Like, I find it just so interesting, like, the bullcrap that people try and lob against it, because if anyone who has read my book knows how aggressively like critical it is of how horrifying rape is. Like literally, the standard that many of the characters of the book is that the punishment for rape is death, a quite violent death in a lot of instances. And the fact that people want to push a counter narrative that is just ridiculous. And it's all the hypocrisy, because they will celebrate so much worse.
Shadow.
The Conqueror. Oh no.
That's very ominous.
No.
Oh.
You gotta go with like the Akatar simulation. Call it In the Court of the Conqueror.
Well, the Conqueror Shadow is great after we do a peeler, because that meme going around where it's like the shadow of the dick on the girl's face or whatever.
Oh no. The problem is, right, I don't think I could do that, because like just by being honest and treating my own story with respect, it is so anti-sexual assault and rape that trying to lean into it would honestly feel like besmirch the work, even though people try and present the book as that to try and discredit me. But you can look at the reviews online. My novel is insanely well reviewed and well received. And I'm not saying it's the best thing ever, but people like it. And I'm very lucky with how well it's done. So the mainstream industry, right? I've thought about trying to, is there anything that the mainstream publishing could do for me in my next book? And no, the answer is no, I don't think they could do anything that I can't do for myself right now. And honestly, it would just put me in greater risk of cancellation, because it gives an industry power over me that hates people like me. They've shown that they don't want me there to begin with. And they bow to the cancel mob so much. And there is such a loud, unhinged group of people, right, that is still there, even though more people are ignoring them. They're still there, and we'll see it in the response to Jordan's tweet here. Because after she said this, right, this is what Kristen goes on to say. Well, of course, the woke scolds, though out of power in general, are still very much in control in traditional publishing. Yes, they are. And they weren't going to allow Jordan to notice these things. If you thought that the majority of odious cancel pigs moved over to Blue Sky, you'd be wrong. Oh, they went for a while, but they came back because Blue Sky is crap and it's a dead platform, basically. Just an echo chamber where no one gets any reach. They always come back, and they share Jordan's post far and wide, demanding their pound of flesh. I might subscribe to you later there, Kristen, but we just got to move this out of the way for now. And this is like the unhinged crap people were saying in response to Jordan's tweet.
I totally forgot Blue Sky existed.
Yeah, Blue Sky is just so irrelevant at this point. It's kind of funny.
Well, all the people who this dramatically said, "I'm leaving Twitter to go to Blue Sky," most of them came back. Right? They all came back.
When they said they were leaving, I knew they were going to come back, because I was on Blue Sky very briefly in the months before that. And I was like, there is no engagement over here. There is no reach. And guess what? Indie authors that went over to Blue Sky, there's no readers either.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I knew they'd be back.
I wish they stayed, because they've come back and they say stuff like this. No one wants my writing because I'm straight cis white female who writes straight cis females. And they're saying that as like a mockery thing or a thing that they like. It's like, I can tell you whining like this because you're in a position of privilege is not how you get an agent either. Oh, shut up. Right.
Well, they also say that as like they'll take the discrimination as proof. So they'll say like, because no one wants to read you anymore. Your time has passed. They'll say your rejection under those guidelines as proof that the market has moved beyond straight white women or something. They do really scummy things like that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Another one. How about, and that's just a thought, we check our white cis het privilege. Basically, they say because she's white, right, she doesn't deserve fair treatment. That's effectively what that's meaning.
Aren't they just proving your point that there's discrimination? Of course there is.
That's what I mean. Like when we're going back to this tweet that I said, it's the responses that reveal which main reason why she might be getting turned down. Absolutely. Like that really shows it, that all these people are basically attacking her for being white and straight. And they're attacking, oh, you have privilege, so you just need to suck it up, right? And accept your rejection because you deserve it for being white and straight, right? This is honestly unbelievably sexist and racist, what they're saying here, but they're the virtuous ones, everyone. Remember that. They're the ones who are virtuous.
What they do not want to admit is that so much of the audience has actually kind of yeeted itself out of the publishing readership because there's nothing to cater to, a male reading audience, that now we're starting to see several times over and over these think pieces from magazines saying, why don't men read anymore? Where are all the male readers going to? They've done it enough times now that they're starting to acknowledge that, hey, this might be an issue. Why? And I went ring around the rosy with these people trying to say, guess what? The whole point of my my Target bookshelf tweet was, what are men reading? What is there for them to read? And I get, oh my God, I can't even go across all the kind of replies that I get. A lot of them say, why don't you just read what's there? I know what those books are and they don't interest me. Well, you just hate women. Oh my God. Over and over again.
I know that, like, their responses.
Like, no, I just hate women writers.
Well, that's not true. That's what they'll try and say, but that's also not true. John's already shouted out some female writers in the stream.
That's why
Sarah Douglas was one of my favorite authors of all time. R.H. Snow, wonderful writer. I've got several female authors on my thing because a lot of times they end up coming into genres with a different perspective than male authors do, and it ends up reading a lot different as well. I can sit here and name a lot of them off the top of my head, just how many I enjoy. And it's not go for me trying to go, well, look, I don't hate women. Look at the women authors I do read. It's just an acknowledgement that what you're saying is objectively false. But I know what kind of stories that the female romantasy authors write. It's not of interest to me because I know that those stories are not structured in a way that appeal to me as a guy. And I have read fantasy. I've read romance novels before. I've read even a couple that classify as romantasy. But the thing with it, they always end up having kind of an inversion of narrative elements. Whereas you read a regular fantasy male-written novel, if you were looking at the subtopic of romance, usually romance is a subplot, and the world building and the characters are front-loaded as the main thrust of any book. When you read a romance novel, the conflict of characters between the male and the female lead, that's the main part of what they're there for. And what ends up happening in a lot of romance novels is the world building and the plot kind of suffer because it gets kind of a second-tier treatment.
I'm actually quite interested in how women are going to receive my next book, the one I'm writing. And it's almost, I'm reaching the end stretch of it because there is a really strong romance subplot in it that is actually crucial to the plot and the overall everything that's going on. And as a result, I do wonder if women might like this book more than my other one because of that. We'll have to wait and see. But you're 100% on the money, how men and women, we like different things and we're attracted to different things. And so much of what is happening in traditional publishing is just a focus on one side and then the extreme side and overrepresentation of what certain, groups like. That traditional publishing, right? Yeah, no worries. It's kind of crazy how traditional publishing has fallen off. Now, I want to get John's opinion on something else in relation to it. So I'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to this. But let's read some of these other ones because it's kind of crazy. This one I found bonkers. Only a mediocre writer can't write from perspectives that don't match their own. And so that's basically saying, suck it up. You need to write from, anything else other than a straight white, personal perspective. And by the way,
where'd that come from? Like she didn't even say anything like that. This is what I want to write. Is that she can't write something else?
Regardless, what is it that they always say? Write what you know.
Well, that's the other side. But she is ignoring the fact that people will generally be able to write things that they understand and have experienced directly a bit better than other things. And yeah, a talented writer will be able to write other perspectives, but generally they'll be able to write perspectives that they understand better to a higher degree of quality. And then she goes, well, like, why should your book be published when your writing apparently isn't up to par with industry standards? Oh,
well, that's probably also why she's getting rejected, because she's actually probably too good.
so the industry standards,
it's crap.
Are bull crap. Yeah, it's slop garbage. Okay,
they're publishing books called "I Eat a Potion and a Werewolf." Like, it's not really that high of a bar.
yeah, right. You just have to look at some of the stuff that gets mainstream publication to know that that's not a standard of quality. It's an ideological standard. That's the thing that they're pushing. And if you're not on par with the ideological narrative, well, then just get stuffed, is their result, is their answer. They're basically saying, these people here, you deserve to be mistreated and to be rejected because you are not aligning to our ideological push that they want, right? John, I wanted to ask you something, because with the fall of the mainstream publishing, right? Do you think there is as much male readers today as there was like 20 years ago?
Probably not. I do think there is some truth to the stories about people reading a lot less. And part of that is because of what I mentioned earlier, the decentralization of entertainment. When someone stops reading your book is competing with every other entertainment venue out there. You know, you've got YouTube, YouTube music, movies, TV, streaming services, things like that. There's way more entertainment options nowadays.
Can I inject something into the discussion that might readjust our assessment of it? What about audiobooks?
I think that's definitely kind of come up a whole lot,
because audiobooks has increased, I guess, book consumption. People don't call it reading, but that has like increased it a lot compared to when audiobooks wasn't as readily available.
I like them okay, but I've had trouble in the past
I love audiobooks.
Paying attention because I usually, when I'm listening to something, whether it's a live stream or when I try for an audiobook, even Critical Role that I mentioned earlier, it was something for me to put onto my ear while I was doing something else. When it comes to an audiobook, it's hard for me because I have to pay more attention.
Yeah. Like I can't listen to an audiobook when I'm working on something that needs visual input because I can't visualize the world. But if I'm doing something that is more monotonous, like gardening or something where my brain doesn't need to be so focused, I can enjoy, especially driving, audiobooks. Love them when I'm traveling. Yeah, and so like I love audiobooks. And in that sense, I think like it's hard to gauge how large the the readership market is, because I'll throw audiobooks into that group as well. But I think on a percentage scale, perhaps there are less male readers than there were. Maybe, like per capita, perhaps. Because, as you're saying, there are a lot of other competing, genres of entertainment. But there is also the fact that how much are male readers getting catered to? Are they getting offered things that they want? Now, there are venues that they can find it. The indie sphere, male literature is alive and well. You've got your book, I've got my book, and those are both very much male kind of focused. There
are a couple of publishers that are still doing good. But as I shout out to Wargate Books, who landed Blaine Pardoe and him, and they do really good military sci-fi stuff. Bain Books is still kind of holding up the banner of classic sci-fi and fantasy these days. Tours, they used to be my favorite. They used to make the best, and it's Wheel of Time, it's man. So sad. But that's an unfortunate consequence of decentralized entertainment, is that it's not going through the previous bottlenecks of where people would go to for their entertainment. So now entertainment becomes something people have to actively seek out.
Yes, I was going to mention
all
that.
Across the internet.
The reason, sorry to cut you off, just the reason why, because yes, there is still great men's focused, stories, literature out there, but it doesn't get nearly as much attention and media, push or marketing that a lot of mainstream, stuff does. And as a result, that's the unfortunate byproduct where it seems like the male focused literature gets less attention, and you can't really walk into a Barnes and Noble and find a lot of the indie books, which is the challenge. Sorry, I did catch off. What else were you saying?
No. You were making my point for me. Yeah. And the thing that really kind of triggers a lot of the girly readers is when you point out, well, where's the books for guys? And they go, what would you say is male fiction? Well, let's see here. You very distinctly have fiction for women that is openly detailed, as openly sold as women's fiction. In young, let's not make any mistake, young adult fiction, that's just young women's fiction. They're basically indistinguishable from the romantasy genre. Meanwhile, who is doing this demographic distinction? You look over the pond over at, I guess it'll be on your same side of your pond. Japan. They have distinctions between manga made for young girls, adolescent boys, and what ends up being the most popular is the stuff the shonen, the stuff that's for adolescent boys, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, My Hero Academia. And it was intentionally marketed to a middle grade school adolescent boy demographic openly. It works for them. Why can we not work for us? It used to be the domain of comic books, but now comic books is equally feminized and boring and shit.
And can I just jump on the comic book point, right? Like, the idea that people aren't interested in reading comic books is completely destroyed by the insane success of manga. Manga is just friggin' killing it. People love visual, storytelling just as much as before in paper format. And so the comic book industry could be as healthy as ever been if they just wrote things for the target audience that are interested in it. But they decided to destroy themselves. They committed suicide, figuratively, the mainstream comic book industry. But now manga is killing it. And everything they be saying is 100% correct. Like they literally have an entire genre that's just like, this is for young boys or young men right there. You can go check it out. And another thing, which we were touching on, that stuff tends to become the most popular stuff. And I think it's because generally it does have a bit more broader appeal. Girls can get into guys, focused media because they like the strong heroic male character, because that's the type of character that they would like. Midoriya. Girls love Midoriya. And my daughter, she loves My Hero Academia. And she's fully into it, right? Because anime still does great jobs at doing awesome kick-ass female characters that are not girl bosses but are really powerful, and they get the wish. Like, one of my favorite animes recently has a female protagonist, and it's Frieren. That's just friggin' brilliant. I
watched that with my daughter. That is a really good anime.
Are you talking about that far right Nazi anime? I love it too. I love it too.
I love it. Like, Japan is killing it. And so the idea that, men just are not wanting these stories is bullcrap. If the mainstream industry is failing with male readers, it's not because men aren't interested in reading or stories, because they're not freaking making anything they're interested in. That's where a lot it comes down to.
A lot of the detractors will try and say it's because of the art and not the content. But the content, the art is better. Don't get me wrong. The art's at times can be a lot better. So I'm glad for a lot of the indie outlets that we do have. I see that in the chat, the Reproverse has been mentioned. I've got several of those. I've got several other indie comics that I just got in over the weekend. I mean, thank God for the indie comic spaces. I just wish my wallet was as big as my heart. I can't pack as many Kickstarters as I end up seeing, unfortunately.
So, also, I'd point out that Webtoons gets 80 million daily users.
That's
it's not the art form. It's distribution. It's so many different things. Everything you guys are talking about. but it's also just how much of a niche market comics have been. They're not. I think half the comic shops have closed over the last 10 years, something along those lines, and so it's getting more niche and more niche. Comic shops are, getting by selling Pokemon cards, and
Manga. Manga is what's been propping a lot of them up.
Yeah, but it's they're not everywhere like they were when I was a kid. I don't know how old you are, John. You sound like you're my age. Comic shops, 7-Eleven, right?
Yeah, I loved reading comics growing up. I've never been a big comic collector. I've only collected a couple of runs of certain comics in my life. But yeah, it was hard and it was kind of hard during the day because I didn't have a comic shop anywhere near me. I had to intentionally ask my parents, "Can you please go by this gas station?" Why? Well, it has a spinner rack. And it's about that time of month. Yeah. The newest issue of Sonic is going to be on there, and I don't want to miss it. Well, now I had a subscription to Sonic now that I remember it, but there were other stuff. I had trying to keep up with the Archie Ninja Turtles was hard for me. I would end up. I remember I got one issue of The Flash from a gas station where he got shot and it looked like he died at the end of it. I'm like, God, what happens next? I never saw another issue of The Flash in that gas station again. I'm like,
yeah, look, that was hard back then. Now imagine it. No gas stations carry comics. Everybody has one of these and they spend 3 to 4 hours a day on it. That's why Webtoon.
Yeah, like there are other platforms that seem to be blowing up. Like there are some online fiction novel story platforms where people are posting their literature on there, and it seems to be getting some serious views.
Royal Road's a big thing for a lot of people.
I've heard that. Yeah, that's one of the ones that I've heard of, and so I haven't decided to dive into it.
I don't want to go back to that. Like, I know as authors, I'm very big about casting a wide net and using every tool and venue possible to try and reach readers. There's a couple of exceptions I've made, like Blue Sky. I'm not going on. I deleted that account. I'm not going on that. I ended up scrolling across illicit material, and I'm like, no, this never happens to me on Twitter. And
not anymore.
But back in the day when I was just a hobby writer, I used a website called fictionpress.org, which was fanfiction.net's sister site. And in a weird way, it actually made me a worse writer for a while because I was writing chapter to chapter instead of thinking about the entire book.
That's one of the flaws that I've seen, because it seems like to get some traction on Royal Roads, you need smaller kind of works that you put out more regularly.
Like continuing series that don't seem to have an end, and that ruins your novel writing part of your brain, learning how to write and per episodic chapters, like it's mentioned.
I'm much more of the type of writer that I like to do a solid finished work that's right there and drop it like an atomic bomb for the reader to just absorb and get immersed in. Like my book is probably going to be sitting on 250,000 words for completion, and so that's good. Yeah, it's a big boy, right? And that type of book I just don't see could do well on a place like Royal Roads. I'm happy that people are starting to get some traction on it, and I'd love to see other platforms grow, but I don't want to see the big kind of solid meaty fantasy book disappear or become, have fewer means of getting out there. But the thing is, though, we do have a lot of means to get our work out there thanks to print on demand, and I'm going to be trying something different with my next book. I'm actually going to try and do a launch campaign like we did for my graphic novel, and load it up with a lot of cool stuff. Like I'm working with a sword company to make a real battle ready replica of the sword of the book that people could get at the same time with the launch, and actually have some really solid big things. And I want to try and make my next book almost like an event release. So we'll see how that works, because not many authors we've done it with a lot of comic books, but I'm really interested to see how a book does it. And we'll see.
Easy on my wallet, Shad. Come on, man.
Dude, I'm working on some fun things. I'm producing an album with it, with with the song and lore, a visual companion, a sword, as I mentioned, and then there'll be other really cool t-shirts, variant covers, and all that fun stuff. I haven't decided if I should release the audio book with it or not, because this is Audible is a challenging topic for me because there are some scummy things that are going on with Audible. Yet the reach.
I noticed Daniel Green's been he's done like 4 Audible videos in the last couple of weeks. I don't really follow him or watch him, but I keep hearing from people talking about he's putting them on blast. And I think good because I remember when even Brandon Sanderson kind of threw his considerable industry weight behind that effort. And apparently they just kind of crawfished back to where they were before. And it's even worse.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I could make a lot more money per sale if I launched the audio version of the book independently, and Brandon has done it before. And what's weird, right? So Sanderson, he did his secret project books and released them outside of Audible. And one of the ways that he just sent like an MP3 to people via email, and I'm like, okay, to me that's kind of ballsy because that is so easy to pirate. The thing is, though, I don't have pirate protection on my audiobook anyway, so there's that. But like if it on that basic level, that's an option. That one of the things that is challenging, though, Audible is such a massive platform. There is such a huge, and I mean huge, baked-in audience there. Like I have my audiobook sales on Audible account for half of all my book sales. And that's actually quite high because usually it's not like audiobook kind of equals ebook. No, audiobook is easily half of my sales. And it gets a lot of reach from people who are already on the platform. They're paying the subscription. What are they going to read next? They get the suggested from similar authors. And so if people read Sanderson, my book will probably get suggested. Same narrators, Michael Kramer and Kate Redding. They get suggested as well. There's like cross-pollination because of that. And so, and as a result, because the book gets so much reach on Audible, the reviews are just really great, like really helpful. Like I've like over 6,000, no, it's more now, ratings on my novel just on Audible alone. And that the review, like, as an author, reviews help a lot with getting your book traction. And going fully independent, you have fewer review platforms to recommend your book. And that's going to be tricky.
I think first.
Sorry.
Launch on your own and then put it on Audible later.
Possibly, but the thing is, though, if I launch the audiobook on Audible at the same time as my big event sales release, I can use the sales from the audiobook to promote the sales campaign. And because they will get some good reviews coming in. So
I think they've kind of changed the review algorithm thing in the last few years. Very in the last few months. I mean that like the old reviews help boost it kind of thing doesn't really work the way it used to, from what I understand. I'm not entirely schooled on it, but they've definitely changed a lot. But the Audible situation is it seems like such an indispensable part of getting your work out there. And at the same time, behind the scenes, you're kind of biting your lip because you're getting pennies on the dollar because of how they arrange the deals. Devin Erickson, the author of Theft of Fire, really great, one of the best sci-fi books I've ever read. He is going whole hog with independent distribution when his audiobook comes out. He kickstarted his audiobook, and he got enough funds to get a full cast to help produce that. Well, there's not that many characters. There's like 3 characters for the majority of the book, and the rest are like really small parts. So it wasn't that hard, but he's got 2 female and 1 male characters that are fully voiced by. So it'll be more like a radio drama with the music and everything. And I'm like, that's ballsy. And he's raised the kind of capital on the independent circuits that he can kind of get away with that when he made the decision not to go with Audible. Because he's more concerned with what his customers are getting and, making sure that he kind of gets a fair deal, a fair bit out of the deal himself. So I really respected that. Theft of Fire, yes. Mm-hmm. To the person in the chat, this book. Phenomenal book.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. It's tricky. I'm undecided because, like I said, I've sold nearly 25,000 to 30,000 copies of my audiobook on Audible, which is like crazy good. I'm, you can't. I make around maybe $10 Australian per book, which is close to $6 or $7 US per audiobook on average. And that's if people get it through the subscription. That might change. I need to look at what the new ratings are. But if they just buy it outright and they're not signed up to the Audible credit system, I get more per sale. But this thing right here, the ratings, 6,200 ratings on the audiobook. That's worth a lot to an author. And so, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do to go fully independent or do both. And I'm kind of leaning towards both. That just because there's going to be people who will not see the sales campaign, who will see it on Audible and purchase it. But the people who do see the sales campaign can get the audio version on that. That's what I'm leaning towards. And what I might also do is throw an Easter egg into the sales campaign audiobook version that's not in the Audible one. I might even do kind of different versions and different epilogue, like bonus epilogues in a different, like for instance, like the leather-bound version, which will be launched with the sales campaign as well. I'm going to include all the bonus epilogues, probably another one on top of it as well, just for like you get the premium thing. Anyway, these are all my plans. Audible is a tricky thing to decide for authors these days. It's not the best platform. Yeah. What do you think is a fair price for an audiobook these days, by the way? Like,
they used to be crazy expensive, man. I just remember that back in the day, like because they were on tapes and stuff. But it was nutty expensive for Audible stuff.
The average book that I look at on Audible, and I'm still relatively new to audiobooks, understand, it seems to be about $25-ish American, which I end up kind of getting a bit of a discount. Usually when I buy a book, I buy physical and digital as well, because I like having the book, but I read much quicker on my Kindle app. And because I already own it, it'll give me like a discount of about $7. Sometimes I'll catch them on sale for when they hit like $7.50. So $25 for an audiobook is, I like audiobook, listen to audiobooks. That's a bit for me,
Yeah. So, because like the
Especially
Audible,
because when I have not enjoyed every audiobook narrator. If I bought a book for $25 and I find out that I don't care for the narrator, the way they're doing the job, I'll feel like, oh gosh, I bought it, I gotta listen now.
Homework.
Yeah. I think the Audible credit is like $15, but is that US or Australian? Because I think that's US. And so $20 I think is kind of fair for an audiobook, especially a big one. So we'll see. We'll see what I do. Let's finish off the story of us going through what's happened with this article and the cancellation, because what happened, right, is not only did they dogpile Jordan, turns out a literary agent did reach out to her and say, hey, I'll read your manuscript. It got attention, but then guess what happened? The screeching at Jordan wasn't enough. They also piled onto an agent, Shannon, Shad Creative Media Agency, who had asked to read the full manuscript as she considered representing her. She then rescinded that offer due to the pile-on. So to me, that is cancellation. They got to cancel, right? And that's scummy in the extreme. I can't stand this.
Why did she reach out publicly? It should have been DMs or something.
Yeah, right.
Of course, she's gonna get dogpiled on.
That message wasn't for her. That message was for the ones that were attacking her. That was a virtue signal to them.
Exactly. This is all just a virtue signal to the mob, right? Caving into the mob. But here's the thing. I'm not sure if Jordan is still listening or not, but if she is, Jordan, my kind of advice, I don't think you need them. I don't think you need the literary agents. I don't think you need the mainstream. I think as well as with the attention that you got, if you go down the self-publishing route, reach out to us. I'll try and support you and shout your book out. And and you might find that you could get far more success independently. Now, the independent route, it's not for everyone, okay, but people can make it a success. Look at John right here. He's doing good work. And it's always a matter of building a platform, right, or being able to market your book some way. And there are ways, but I think there's going to be a lot of people willing to support Jordan here for the way that she's been mistreated. Because remember how I said in the current, climate, the backlash, the pushback against these disgusting cancel mobs are showing themselves to be far more powerful than the cancel mobs themselves, right? And so keep doing what you're doing, Jordan. I wish you all the best. And ignore these pigs, the cancel pigs. Look, don't apologize to them. You did nothing wrong. And
like I said on Twitter, Jordan, there's two sides to the book communities on Twitter. There's the side that's been going after you. This is usually more female centric and romance readers and writers and whatnot. And then there's kind of what I call the book bros side, which is, just a lot of people like us, a lot of men and women who do not agree with these kind of tactics and don't care for where the publication industry has kind of gone. I mean, and I have a friend who was jumped into BookTube and wound up on that side of BookTube. And shout out to Will from Bald Book Geek. He's a great guy, and like he got attacked by cancel pigs for not promoting certain kinds of books with certain kinds of demographics. Got told he was toxic and everything like that, and it just ruined his zest for wanting to cover books at all on that side. It just kind of destroyed him in that way. But meanwhile, on the other side of it, there's much more normal people like us that don't do these kinds of things. Much more normal people. It's we're driven by a desire for good books, whether they're independently written or some that are even traditionally published, that make us feel the way we were when we were reading them, when we were much younger, and just walking into Walden Books and there's a whole wall of science fiction and fantasy, and you could just cover by, what cover looks the coolest. Yeah. And I do miss those kind of days, but it's gone. And like I've said in my article, entertainment's decentralized. The marketplace is now digital, and we all have to market. And some people decide to, it's a mosh pit. You're going to get hit, so you might as well come out swinging.
And Jordan is actually still here, and she says, in regards to the agent, she responded to my agent's guide post that I had made on my book and had pinned on the profile. And then she says, people saw that and went after her, the agent, sounds like, and she didn't ask me for any clarification, just immediately rescinded. Cave to the mob. Gutless. These people are freaking gutless. And also, the other side is they probably agree with the woke mob. Like the literary agents and publishing industry is infested by these people, right? That's why I think I'm grateful I never. By the way, I could have gotten traditionally published. I had an offer to represent my entire book by Joshua Bilms. If you don't know who that is, that's Brandon Sanderson's literary agent of is it Jabberwocky or awfulagent.com? Okay, but at that point my book was already doing well, and I was first seeking foreign language translation, and he said I would rather represent the whole thing, and I was like, well, I'm doing perfectly fine on my own in English, and so I actually turned him down and didn't go ahead. But if I did accept like a mainstream publishing deal, I reckon they would have completely excised me at this point. I'm an unmentionable. I have how dare I, speak out against the and so the cancel mobs, they've already tried to come after me, but they can't take my the bull crap that they have said about my book, just flat out lies, right? That if that was in the hands of one of these insanely woke publishing companies, I reckon they very well likely could have taken my book out of publication.
Probably not even would they stop publishing your book. They probably would have accepted it in the first place, knowing that there would be a mob, so they can virtuously dump it. Oh, we don't publish Nazis, and then because not doing anything gives them less points than actually taking you on, and then kowtowing to the mob. Like, oh look, see, we destroyed him, we unpublished him.
So my point to Jordan is that this agent dropping you, you might have dodged a bullet. So there could be a silver lining there, but keep doing what you're doing. And I wish you all the best. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on how you go.
The fact that author saw the stuff going, had to have seen all the stuff going on, because like, oh, I'll reach out to you, and then made the offer publicly. It seems that's a red flag. Like, why would they do that?
Kristen goes through a lot more on an article. Everyone check her out. She's on Twitter as well, and also great YouTube channel. What's the YouTube channel again? It's the No Nonsense Free Editor. Is that? I think that's the YouTube channel name. Actually, I got it right here. Yeah, the Nonsense Free Editor. That's the one. Check her out. She does great work. I've been enjoying her videos. And holy crap, this has been an awesome live stream. John, thanks for joining us. We're going to catch up with the super chats and start to wrap up. But the super chats must be shared. And we got to cover them. So we covered that one. Buddy Rabbit, yes. Sticks and stones break my bones. But first, you got to throw them, as they say. Smatter you for 999 says, apologizing to these window lickers is as effective as walking into a pit bull. Oh, no, wait, I think we did cover that one. Thank you.
Shout out to the insult window lickers. It's not used enough.
Yes, it is. Window licking is like as an insult. It's a great one. Nathan Cassidy, 499, says, I think a bigger truth is people do not gravitate towards ideas that go against not having kids. Yes, that's one of the last ones we did. And that's why wokeness won't last. Yeah, I don't think it's bound to fail. It goes against human nature, just biology at this point. And then Mansfield Time, $5 says the majority doesn't have time to tell you how much they dislike you. We simply walk away to find something we do like because we got to go back to work. Yeah, look at all these woke properties dying and the company's thinking, but all the activists were telling us that's what everyone wanted. It's the modern audience. Why didn't they show up?
But the chart said.
Yeah, right?
The chart said this.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't made for you. Wait, why aren't you watching?
Yeah, I find that so funny when they literally say, if you don't like my politics, don't read my book. And that sentiment has been expressed time and time again. And then people do that and they're wondering, what happened? Why aren't they reading? You told them not to, you idiots. You drove them away with spite and resent. Okay? And everyone, we got the message. Okay, see ya. We don't need you. And turns out they get what they deserve. Starry Night 17 says, I hate shippers so much. Man, yes, yeah. Fandom used to be fun, man. Non-canon shipping used to be fun, and now it's all two men or women looked at each other. They must be gay. Man, but even when it's not, so like the shipping between like Kylo and Rey was just insane, and then they actually Disney lent into it. It's just like, oh my gosh, that kiss between Kylo and Rey at the end was just unbelievable cringe.
I was out by that.
Just stop talking to the shippers.
Yeah. To stop everyone. Buddy the Rabbit for $10 says they already did the pronoun preaching with the ESO. The writing was on the wall years ago. Elder Scrolls was cooked the moment we didn't get a proper Morrowind or Daggerfall sequel. Yeah. Bethesda, you know, farewell. I have no hope for
Thanks for the good times.
Yep. Kosho Shinogi for $10 says, out of genuine curiosity, because all I hear in this sphere are call-outs, are people with less common identities allowed to be depicted in media? And is there a way to do it that isn't woke? Cheers. Oh, there is a way to do it that isn't woke. Absolutely. Like, there are multiple times when there's a character that would be defined as diverse that no one on my side has ever had an issue with, right? Because they're just a good character. They don't like try and preach you or make a thing out of it. It's just like, here's a character that's a woman and it's a great character. Like, we talk about Freerun is an awesome anime.
It's a discussion to be had, but the one thing I have noticed, man, a lot of the discourse has ended up poisoning a lot of the well, where even if somebody's coming in with a diverse character or a gay character or whatever, and they're not by the definition of woke, may not. People just see it and they knee jerk away from it immediately. A lot of people,
like the ballerina. Like the ballerina should have done really well.
Furiosa.
Yeah.
It should have.
Like that's kind of the damage that they've done to themselves. That they've done this so much that there are actual some decent stuff that deserve to be much better than what it did, but people are done with it. They're like, and
even if it's good, they're still knee jerking back away from it. Even if it's something, it's you've trained kind of a generation of people that are online a lot to look at that and go, nope, that's not for me, and I'm out. Just
feminists and the woke mob have done more damage for women's representation in media than any other, group.
It's kind of also how like the woke mob also has done far more for white supremacy as the white supremacists. Getting rid of the Indian on the butter thing, getting rid of the Uncle Ben or whatever, like getting rid of all these minority faces.
That meme is the best though. How they kicked the Indian out, but they kept the land.
Well done, woke mob. Well done. Fantastic.
Many such cases.
Horseshoe theory, man. Some of the most racist people I find are these people who are so like, racism bad, and then they also attack anyone if you're white and they say you deserve it. It's crazy. It is actually crazy. But it's the world we live in these days. Buddy the Rabbit for $10 says, any defense of Bethesda's content post Fallout 3 is cope. The writing on was like clear to be seen with it's that multiplayer Fallout one. I forget the name now. But anyway, that Fallout, but which was the one after Fallout 3. Oblivious was 4 out of 10. Skyrim was 3 out of 10. Those are harsh ratings, man. It's the Midas touch of feces. I would give them higher ratings, but you're entitled to your opinion, sir. I still like it, Buddy Rabbit. Marty for Life, 499 says, Shad, love you on FNT and glad I found your live shows on the industry. What's some great superhero series where all seasons are good, not just the first few? Superhero series. I mean, look, people always reference Batman, the animated series. I do think it fell off a little bit towards the end, but it's still overall really, really good.
Netflix Daredevil.
The Netflix did.
I said Netflix.
Yeah. You gotta be very, very clear about that point. There's not many though. Unless a gentleman here know of any other ones. Lois and Clark's Superman was always fun. I enjoyed that as a kid.
Wayback Machine.
Yeah, it's going back.
The Incredible Hulk with David Banner.
Freakazoid had every season was awesome.
I do not remember much of Freakazoid. I know of him.
Fanboy Chum Chum.
Marty for Life 499 says, I loved female protagonists like Ripley, Sarah Connor, etc. The mother archetype or femme fatale. We just don't like their insufferable female dog not heroes. Yeah, like I love kick-ass female action heroes all my life.
Well, right? Those don't count for some reason.
Yeah, they like to get about them.
Because we always say, "Oh, I like Ripley, I like Sarah Connor," but they don't count. All they can say is they don't count. I'm not really sure why they don't count, but they don't count.
Yeah, they don't have a defense against them.
Yeah, well, they're made for it in a more traditional way, where there's like this mother bear aspect to them, or they're distinctly feminine still, right? Like the entire activist feminist mob should have been getting behind Alita Battle Angel like it was the best thing ever. But because it had distinctive, true feminine undertones to her character, they saw it as a threat to the girl boss movie that was being released around the similar time, Captain Marvel. And there was this big, tribal battle between Captain Marvel and Alita Battle Angel. Do you remember? Did you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Alita Battle Angel was brilliant. I freaking loved it. And I loved her character because she was a kick-ass female character who was still distinctly feminine. And that feminine aspect of her characters not only directed really significant parts of the plot, it just made her so much more likable and enjoyable, where she had this kind of gentleness to her, which juxtaposed so well with the action aspect and combative ability that she had. And she had these protective instincts in her as well, in a feminine way. I don't see the woke people getting behind characters like that because they're traditionally feminine. right? Feminism hates traditional femininity and motherhood. They want women to be like men because they want to subvert the masculine power. And so they celebrate the female characters that are male coded, basically. And the ones that get validated completely through and through. Also, if they act like complete dogs, right, which means they're kind of acting like the activists, but they're presented as being these wonderful people, they love that as well. They like, and it's so weird. Like, Lindev, you've noticed all these like girl boss characters, how they're nasty. They're actual nasty people.
Excuse me.
Well, you can say I noticed them before, yeah.
Guys like a female character where they look at them and think, would I want to hang out with this person?
Yeah. Or
like female characters that are likable.
Yes. Also,
you have enough insufferable women in the real life. You don't have to
another metric.
Go watch them.
No joke though. Another metric, men would have, especially when you're a young man and single, as to if you'd be interested in going through a story with the female characters. Would you want to go out with them? Are they nice? Are they good looking? Are they interesting? Would you want to spend time with them? Those are the things that attract men towards female, driven literature stories where have female lead characters. And so when they make them these insufferable, know-it-all nasty girl boss kind of that are there just to, belittle the men around them.
Yeah, it's like paying to go hang out with your sister-in-law for 2 hours.
Mike's
because it's true.
Mike is sharing something there. There's something deeper there that we could unpack, but we're gonna keep moving on. Mansfield Type for $2 says, "Tell her you love her. Make him a sandwich. Simple." No, there's a simple.
I don't like my wife making my. She don't know how to make the sandwich the way I like it. I can make my own sandwich. I'm a big boy. It's fine.
My wife can make some delicious roasts. When she makes dinner. Yeah, like, men are simple creatures. We don't need much, Don't need much. Dale Schumacher becomes a new member. Legend. Thank you, Schumacher. Thank you. The ultimate kahuna.
Kahuna!
John, the mayor of Orc City. No way. You're a legend, mate. Lionheart is coming out soon. Those who haven't read his book is truly a return to epic fantasy. Awesome. Is that the one you're working on now, Lionheart?
Yes, the Lionheart. It is I don't want to talk about it too much because I got the cover ready, but I'm not technically done with it. But the Lionheart is this concept of a caped superhero and an epic fantasy. And he's altruistic. You guys are probably like, I know how you feel about heroism, Shad. My favorite video I think that I've ever seen you do was when you tore down Kevin Smith for the way he butchered He-Man. I was a He-Man kid. I was pissed.
Yeah.
Beyond measure. And so that was a very cathartic video for me to watch. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad you liked it because
superheroes.
100% on board with you. Though, like,
I was indifferent to him before that. Afterwards, I will never watch anything he makes.
Yeah. He-Man represents such classic, like, boyhood fantasy masculinity, and also as like a great example for young boys as this aspirational, just noble hero.
It was exemplary of everything that Hollywood was doing wrong with the intrusion of what they did with Tila and all that crap and bad storytelling. And the animation was so awesome. And it's just, I don't want to go on a rant. I don't want to go on a rant.
Yeah.
We got to get through this.
Let's talk about Kevin Smith because, boy, what a overhyped talent he is. Like, Clerks
I never saw the hype. I don't know why anyone ever saw the hype.
He's mid. He should have stayed in independent films because like Clerks and Mallrats and stuff, that was good. It's like this very niche thing. But then it's like everybody, it's like, oh, this Hollywood writer wants to come into comic books. And it's like, yeah, but he's not writing like grandiose kind of, he like put me in the bathroom at the I don't want to talk about what the stuff happens in Clerks, but it's like, the just the very narrow, limited cast and limited situation type of stuff. He writes like fun, quirky stuff. And then you try to put him on all this other like bigger genre stuff, and it's garbage. I'm not gonna say it's garbage, but it's not like He's
Tim
so
Sheridan
overhyped.
deserves some of that blame too, because I don't think it was all Kevin Smith. Tim Sheridan, who had his own controversies in the comic industry. I believe that's his name. No, wait. I'm not thinking of the right person. Tim Sheridan's the Yellowstone guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Kosho Shinogi for $5 says, "Admit it, Shad. No, I will not. How dare you, sir? Saying I want Pedro Pascal cast to play Dalen in the movie. No, hell, freaking no."
Get him a red coat as the Conqueror. Give him some blue hair.
Casting.
Oddly enough, you know what people say?
Shad, you want somebody everybody hates.
Like, give him lick some dildos. I mean, everyone hates.
Well, let me full screen myself. People say that the main character looks like James Franco. Can you see that?
Oh, he looks just like Pedro Pascal. It's crazy.
No, how dare you?
Wow,
Don't
Pedro
say-
Pascal with blue hair.
Like if he
Really
shaved.
thin mustache there.
You can just
Is
picture
it
him
James
licking
Franco?
Imperious.
It's the guy that played Harry Osborn in those Spider-Man films. But he's probably a bit too old now. Now I don't know who I'd pick.
His little
But not
brother.
friggin' Pascal. Get stuffed. Ugh.
Perfect cast.
Neo5127 for €2 says, "I listen to audiobooks now since COVID. Audiobooks are great. I love them." And
Tim Sheridan was a writer on He-Man. He wrote 3 episodes. This thing had like 7 writers.
Wow.
No wonder it felt so disjointed. Jesus.
but it was still under the direction of Kevin Smith and his overall kind of, story that he wanted to tell.
Too many cooks spoil the broth.
That's one of the worst things made. I can't stand that piece of crap. Like, there's literally a line where it's like, He-Man says, "I died," and then Teela says, "and we had to live through it." And like, if you could not say one of those friggin',
women are the primary victims of war.
Like something happens that affects someone else, and women most affected memes. Like,
women are the primary victims of war because they lose their fathers and husbands and brothers.
I can't stand that. You can't like see the insane entitlement that exists on that ideological line. It's just insane. Cannot stand it.
How dare you die? We had to deal with your death.
I know.
I had to die.
I'm the victim because you died. I can't. The Forged Stories 50 says, "I backed Theft of Fire and I'm so hyped for the memory cards. It gives me something physical to display, which audiobooks normally don't do." And there it is, Theft of Fire. And you give that one a recommendation.
Oh my God. This was my book of the year last year. This is probably one of the best science fiction books to come out of the last decade, bar none. And I cannot recommend this enough when it comes to the exceptional productions that come out of the indie spaces. Theft of Fire is probably one of the best. I can make so many really good recommendations, especially recommendations for men. This is a good, if you're a guy and you want some good sci-fi, it's not classic sci-fi. This is very interesting. I wish I could point to my review, but my channel's gone. You have to hunt it down on my Rumble channel. But this book, you're going to want to be in on this book because this book is hyped.
See, that is honestly, that is what the independent sphere needs is people who are informed. They know what makes, writing good. And John, you have a good pedigree yourself. You're an author, so you're quite informed on that. Because now you've got my interest, like Theft of Fire. It's that's on my backlist to check out now.
Chad, everything that we've been talking about, the differences between men and women in literature for them, all that dynamics between them, that all comes into play in this book.
Awesome.
It really does, and it from a very male-centric point of view, not a bad one too, a very introspective and interesting one. I could go on for a long time about Theft of Fire, believe me.
See, that is one of the challenges that the indie sphere faces is informed recommendations, because there is a lot. There's so many now. It's getting quite oversaturated that you need those good recommendations to point you in the right direction. Especially, like, I don't know how well it's done, if it doesn't have huge reviews, but that's the type of thing. So appreciate you, John, for sharing that. And that's like legit. That's on my radar now.
I finished my drawing.
Hey,
Man.
It's kind of.
Yeah, let me turn my green screen off.
It's self-censoring.
Yeah. Although it's censoring everything else except the part that,
Oh, wrong direction.
Yeah, Catwoman.
Hold on,
She's a very sexy woman, Catwoman.
Oh my gosh. I can't turn my background. There we go.
It's which is for science we might need just to inspect that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one that really liked the blonde Selena look from the animated series? Because you never see that anymore.
I can't remember it. I don't think I'm.
She was blonde. She was blonde.
She was blonde. She was rich. I prefer her being blonde, yeah, or at least dark hair. I like maybe how she is in Arkham Asylum or Arkham City or something like that.
Oh, that wouldn't.
I like both those.
All right, gentlemen, we have reached the end of this awesome stream. John, thanks for joining us, man. This has been great.
Happy to, man. It's been a while since I've been on a live stream since I lost my channel, but I'll be doing some video stuff back on like my X and my Rumble channels and everything. My X was always bigger than my YouTube channel anyway.
Why did YouTube yeet your channel? Wasn't it something really stupid and
was something really stupid? It was more or less AI moderated and related to alt accounts, and it's just not coming back. And I'm not going to worry about it too much. If I get it back, that'll be awesome. If maybe some bigger YouTuber out there wants to get their agent to go behind the screen and push a button, that'd be really nice. But regardless, I will. I've got other platforms on other social media areas. So, again, the X was always the bigger platform that I worked on. So, that's
your following on X is much bigger because I remember trying to get Team YouTube attention when you were talking about that on X, and Team YouTube didn't follow up. Did they?
They did, but they stuck to their guns on it. So,
bloody hell.
But behind the scenes that will take a nice, no, I ain't going to say bribe, but, a little encouragement, grease the wheels a little bit.
But everyone, go check out John. He's available on X and is always a fun follow. He calls out a lot of the bull crap. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention, John? Shout out while we're wrapping up.
No, if you guys want some classic epic fantasy, I'll always show my book, The Black Crown, Age of Adventures, Book 1. Book 2, The Lionheart, is coming out hopefully this year. I can't say exactly when, but that's what I'm most well known for. I'm on pretty much any social media platform you can find me on. But the thing I hated about losing the YouTube channel is I was happy to platform other indie authors that didn't get a chance to get platformed on other channels, and I hate that because I feel like we have a lot of creators in the indie spaces. What we don't have as much of is platforms. Mm-hmm. And we've lost a couple of platforms and YouTube channels, not just me, some other ones as well, in the book spaces, and that was important to me. But I'm going to keep chugging along. They didn't put any quit in me, and hard work is the one thing I've never been afraid of. The only thing
one of the other groups that seems very ideologically captured at the moment is BookTube. So many of the booktubers are just so insanely left.
A lot of them are. The book bros are a little better, but I do think there's very much a sentiment in there of not rocking the boats in any way, like in ideological ways. Some of them that talk to me behind the scenes are very much in agreement, but that's not what they want to turn their channel into. They very much want it to be, here's the book I'm reading. But the thing I don't like is that people want reviews, and a lot of them stopped doing single reviews because nobody tuned in for them. Like they got the lower ratings.
I mean, the way YouTube is now, I don't see the algorithm, rewarding videos like that, which is really unfortunate. The algorithm is just pummeling so many niche video content at the moment. So that sucks.
It's a castle built on shifting sands.
Unless you've got some sort of drama involved. Yeah. Being disingenuous.
Sorry, John, you were about to say something else about it.
It's a castle built on shifting sands, and you just got to be ready to move with it. So that's what I'm doing.
Yep. Good on you, man. Good on you. Hey, Mike, anything I want to mention while we're wrapping up?
If you want to jump to my Christian channel, I do a daily show during the weekdays. So Christian content primarily. Awesome. Sometimes we do, some political stuff, but it is what it is. Cross-examinations, it's in the chat.
Great. Lit Dev, what you got going on, mate?
Oh yes, actually, I actually do have something going on this time. Let's see.
Hey.
Here we go. I think this should be it. Finally, the campaign is pretty much done, ready to launch. But here's the trailer for it.
It began with the suicide of Charles Blackwell, then the Rhine Swan family massacre. 3 generations painfully passing from this world, crying the same crimson tears Blackwell had. After that, the media finally gave their murderer a name, the Red Crier Killer. But despite it all, evil can be conquered. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark, I'll lead you home. If your heart is gripped by fear, I'll comfort you. If justice eludes you, I'll find it. So sleep well, Orc City. And while you dream, I'll keep the monsters away.
Dude,
That looks
That
good.
looks-
Team up with Lone Star.
that looks tight, man. That looks tight. That's one of your
Yeah.
more polished ones that I've seen you produce. That is looking good.
I went all in on this. I spent 5 years developing the world, and around 8 to 9 months just on the script alone. So then we got into the art and everything and stuff like that. So it's this one is there's a lot of work went into this one. Like a lot of work went into this one. Writing, rewriting, rewriting.
Kicking ass, dude. He's doing great.
No,
Great work.
the girl boss, it's woke.
But everyone, keep an eye on. So when do you think this is going live, LitDev?
So probably soon. Hopefully, maybe next week or so. Around next week or so. I'm hoping because the trailer came in. It was the last thing I needed to launch it. The rest of the campaign looks really good. Got some pretty good high graphics in there. Got everything put together. Some of the stretch goals I had fun with. Like the first one's going to be adding the original 10-page comic that started this whole thing 5 years ago. And then the other one I thought was pretty cool was a companion piece notebook, like a detective notebook. That's going to be coming pre-written, but you can follow along in the notebook as you go along in the comic itself. So you can have like details in there, so you can like have a little extra information about like who people are and stuff like that. Because it is, I start off with the trope of like Agatha Christie. Okay, everyone to the parlor. So there's going to be a lot of people in there and different, motivations and all kinds of stuff like that. And I had to do that to keep it grounded. As someone said, like writers need a tard wrangler, as I like to say. A tard wrangler we usually call an editor. Is what happens. So like the reason why it took so long to make is I kept going overboard because the lore is deep in this story. I got so much lore to tell you, and I kept falling for the temptation to just glob it on. Like, oh, here's this and how this works, how this works. But then I was able to ground it with actually making it a mystery. But a cult, and I explained to you the magic system and how it works relative to what you need to know. So there's logic to it, so you can follow it. It's not just like a what's it called, Constantine, where he says like, I do a voodoo curse and I win. It's not like that. It actually has like logic and everything in it. So that's why it took so long. I had to make sure every single thing is in there. I had to go to. That's why the art took so long, because my art. I had to just like, okay, she needs to have this happen here because this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, leads to this down the road. So it's tightly scripted. The clues are planted early and stuff like that. So it was tough, kind of like making sure everything was in there, even in the first page and everything. There's a lot of clues in the first page. Lots of defining clues in there. So those are big moments in there. Lots of stuff in this book. Lots of mystery. Lots of lore where I could, like the monster is a revenant, which rules of the revenants in this world is kind of like basic Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. That's kind of how they operate. Just walking, talking piles of vengeance. And so there's so much stuff in here. I haven't even touched on the lore that I've made for this city though. I draw my own experiences. I think you'll like it because the lore is pretty based, technically speaking, because it does go into the roles of women and men, and that's women are naturally connected to magic and everything because the whole thing is women are in families, and what people don't know are forgotten because they're very traditionalist. Magic is steeped in tradition. Is that men are the protectors of the family, but the women are supposed to be the spiritual protectors of the family. Traditionally. So this is why they're so connected with the more natural energies of the world. And so is why witches are women and everything. And I go into the idea that not witches aren't evil. It's some witches become evil. So it goes into those sorts of things. Because where I come from, all our grandmas are brujas. they were Catholic, but they're all brujas, and they all had their own little gardens, and they had like little remedies, home remedies, and everything. So not necessarily evil, but they were responsible for the guardianship and well-being of the spiritual health of the children and the family. They're basically the older Hispanic women. They're like, do the egg on you if they seem like you're kind of cursed or something, have a evil spirit following you around. So that's kind of where that came from. The idea that women are the spiritual guardians of the family. Doesn't mean men can't use magic, but it's like the women are more natural to it. So that does come into play. Things like that.
Sounds awesome, man.
I made a role, and where she works for this. Have you ever seen the anime or read the manga Helsing?
Yeah, well, I watched some of the first series of it, not all of it, but I'm familiar with it.
Afterward, but subconsciously, Helsing that series really made a lot of influence on the series. Like, holy crap! There's this and there's that, but it's different, obviously. But there is like a Helsing organizational style thing in there that kind of helps defend Orc City. That's why this whole thing centers around the Blackwells, because the Blackwell family controls the organization that protects the city from these supernatural threats. And they have a role in there called the forensic alchemist that can goes through these special poisons and alchemical nonsense to see like, okay, here's what happened. So which comes into play as well. So a lot of work went into this, a lot of carefully putting in the lore that needs to be in there, things like that. So
man.
Oh, so I've worked on this for so long.
I'm excited. Like it's coming out next week.
Yeah,
or maybe
I could launch it next week. Dude. And then I was hoping
I have to ask you before you move on: is it objectively good?
I don't know. I can't. I'm too biased in my own writing.
Yeah.
To me, it's good.
To be decided by other people.
Look, I follow tradition. I follow the rules of writing as I always profess them. Beginning, middle, and end.
I think a good metric though is if you like the story. All right, and because
I love this story.
Exactly. If you genuinely like it, there will be other people who like it as well that share similar preferences to you. That's kind of been my metric.
Ultimately, most of us indie creators are writing something we want to read. So
yep, that's exactly it.
Was it my artist really got on board when he read the ending to this? He got really excited about the ending to this story. Really enjoyed it. So hopefully you will like it too.
I'm looking forward to it, mate. And that is awesome. Now, for me, everyone kind of knows where I'm at these days. I got a video coming out this weekend. Nunchuck's first flail. You can imagine
which one's worse.
And my novel is going well. Still working on it. It's turning out this is going to be a big one. And
now the second one, is this going to be a continuation of Chronicles of Everfall, or is this something new?
Oh, this is something new. So Chronicles of Everfall was written as a more standalone. It has sequel potential, and I probably would like to do sequels to it in the future, but it's got a very self-contained arc and story that I'm happy to let rest at the moment. But this is a new world, new series, medieval fantasy, and I think I'm doing some real... it's fun. It's like deeply traditional, yet at the same time, it's an approach to the traditional fantasy that's not really been done before. So I think there's some real fresh stuff in it. And I'm having a blast writing it. This has been so fun. So I take that as a good indication. I'm excited to bring it to people. Still got a bit of work to do. Probably won't be ready until next year. I will get the first draft done this year. I'm on track for that. It's just the book is ending up bigger than I expected. But I'm not cutting corners. I'm not trying to, I want to give every single scene the attention it needs to do justice to what's going on. And it'll be as long as it needs to be. And it's looking like it probably 250,000, if not more, by the end of it. We'll see.
That's a lot of words.
That's a lot of words. In case we're wondering,
words.
The average fantasy novel is 100,000 words. And so, it's you're going to get a full... Sorry, what?
Where? That's a short fantasy novel in my experience.
I generally yes, but actually no, not generally. More specifically, because generally speaking, that is the average fantasy novel size. YA is 75,000 words. But you sound like a man of similar a taste to me there, John, because I like the chunky ones as well, like Sanderson.
Oh, I got
You
a
like
whole
a
row
book
of
you
them right
can
there.
kill a man with.
Yeah, exactly. Books that reach up to 300,000-400,000 words. I got Wheel of Time up there, and those are some chunky paperweights. So it's but what's funny, right, is mainstream publishing, they encourage people to write smaller books because they make more profit. Yeah, like literally in printing, like because a thicker book generally sells for the same price as a thinner book, and therefore it costs more in printing. And so they encourage people to write smaller, and as a result, chunky kind of fantasies that have a real like solid, full thing, they're not as common unless you go mainstream, like Wheel of Time or what Sanderson is able to pull off. The same with George R. Martin. A lot of the, if you're wanting to break into the mainstream publishing, they look down on longer books. So screw them. I don't need them. Get up and do it anyway. But everyone. Ooh.
I did one too.
Yeah, well, yes. I need to get that actually. I need to get the whole. Yeah, that's the omnibus, is it?
Yeah, this is the big version. I think it's bigger than an average comic book.
Yeah, that looks.
So they did a jumbo freaking omnibus. It's like insane.
Dude, that's cool.
I could kill someone with this.
Yeah, actually. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a mad stream. I've loved it. John, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you all. We will sign off now. So as always, everyone, stay on watch.